Chapter 2780. What was going on? Why would the blue side have a camp? The person who would send out such a notice should be a member of the ancestral dragon clan. Everyone looked towards Yi Zichen. Lord Yi. Hua Jianro tilted her head and pointed above her head. It's the ancestral dragon tribe's report, right? When did you take down the camp? Everyone here knew that the blue faction only had 2 battleship camps. Suddenly, a campsite popped up. Where did it come from? Yeah, almighty, how could you do it secretly? Meng Luo also frowned, looking very unhappy. If you do this, I'll be very unhappy. No, it really wasn't me. Yi Zichen shrugged helplessly. He was also very confused at the moment, okay? If it really was him, then it couldn't be him. Obtaining the camp was not part of his plan at all. Ding dong. Camp ownership change. Congratulations to the blue team for obtaining the rights to the battleship camp. Again. Yi Zichen frowned. Could it be? Amami, your people will definitely be completely loyal to you. Yi Zichen suddenly asked something that sounded very strange. Why do you ask? Tianhai frowned. If they want to obtain the right to hold the camp, then it must be done by us, the blue side. According to the ancestral dragon clan's division between our 2 sides, the sacred region universe country belongs to our blue side. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes. I am certain that I never gave anyone the order to destroy the camp. My order has always been to investigate. You suspect that my people deliberately destroyed the camp. Tianhai frowned, but he didn't hold any grudges towards Yi Zichen's suspicions. He was also thinking about this problem. Indeed, to obtain a base camp, one had to attack to obtain it. The Milky Way's reinforcements did not come. Then, the blue side was a member of his sacred universe country. I have this suspicion. Yi Zichen frowned deeply. There were capable people on the red side. Karkat? If he was a truly intelligent person, he would definitely be able to tell that the longer it dragged on, the better it would be for the sacred universe country. The camp points were the biggest source of turning the tide of the battle. It's very possible. Karkat thought of this, and purposely instigated the sacred galaxy universe country people, retreating his own people and letting them attack the camp, thus handing over control of the camp to the blue side. Reduce the amount of points obtained by the blue team. Increase the number of points obtained by the red side to make up for the gap between the 2 sides? Impossible. He shouldn't be thinking about it. Yi Zichen did not believe that Karkat would ignore his threat. He wants a draw. That was indeed a possibility. If he lost, he might incur the wrath of the crowd, because at the start of the trial, he indeed had the upper hand. Even though he might not have the right to speak. The one who truly affected the outcome of the battle was not him. However, the Majesties didn't care about this. They needed a suitable place to vent the points they had lost, and Karkat was the most suitable target. He didn't have a high status in the first place. Those Majesties and princes could attack him and vent their anger on him without any hesitation. Perhaps if he lost this time, he would lose his position as prince. Victory. Some people would still hate him, and Yi Zichen had threatened him. For the sake of the tribe, he would not do such a thing. Only a draw. Ding dong. Camp ownership change. Congratulations to the blue team for obtaining the warrior camp. The notice of the change of camp was sent out again, and the people in the cabin frowned even more deeply. Tianhai. Sensing the seriousness in Yi Zichen's tone, Tianhai hesitated for a moment, then said softly, I'm certain. Tianhai clenched his fist tightly. Those who followed him were indeed his old subordinate. They had gone through thick and thin with him, and were still willing to stay by his side even now. How could he doubt subordinates like that? Yi Zi, I trust my men. Tianhai said softly. They have followed me for over 1,000 years. They wouldn't betray me for some small benefit. The camp ownership is a bit strange. Do you think it might have been done by the ancestral dragon clan? Breaking the rules of the game? Slapping their own faces? Yi Zichen let out a sigh helplessly. Tianhai, There's no need to do that to protect your subordinates, right? Do you think that's possible? They set up this trial, and now they're breaking it. Ignoring whether or not we can accept it, aren't they challenging their own dignity? Who would believe them in the future if the rules are changed at will? Then, Tianhai really didn't want to believe that it was his subordinates who did it. Could it be that they gave it to us? Giving camps to the enemy isn't an alliance. Yi Zichen twitched his mouth. If they could really give it to us, then why didn't they give it to us from the start? Yi Zichen let out a long sigh when he saw that Tianhai was speechless. He didn't want to continue this topic. Doubting subordinates wasn't something a successful leader should do. But in the current situation, only the sacred region cosmic nations people ignored Yi Zichen's orders. Let's look at the location of the replacement camps first. Under Yi Zichen's signal, Bailey displayed the map in the cabin. The moment they saw the map, everyone was shocked once again. What's going on? Yi Zichen looked at the location of the camps on the map. 2 battleship camps. They were actually 2 of the enemy crystal camp. There was also a warrior camp that belonged to the sacred region cosmic nation, which was in the blue area. What's going on? I don't understand. Yi Zichen rubbed his nose with a look of confusion. Just what is Karkat doing? What Yi Zichen didn't know was that Karkat was confused as well. I didn't tell anyone to destroy the battleship camps. Karkat, who sat in the room, frowned. That's right. Although Tianhai wasn't willing to admit it, his subordinates were indeed betrayed. A commander-level expert, Karkat gave him 500 million universe credits as a reward to destroy 12 camp. He was the one who ordered the warrior camps to be destroyed. But he heard that the ownership of the battleship camps had changed. Karkat took out the map in shock and looked at the situation on it. He was shocked. The destroyed battleship camp was in their main camp. He wasn't in the main camp, so he couldn't know the situation there. Could they have fought their way over? Karkat frowned as he thought of this possibility. That's the only possibility. Otherwise, how could he have infiltrated the base, which was guarded by 4 venerable ones, given that he was a commander-in-chief? Ding dong. The red crystal has been destroyed. The red crystal has 12 hours to repair itself. If the repair is successful, the trial will continue. If the repair fails, the trial will end. Bang! The cup in Karkat's hand smashed onto the floor. Yi Zichen and company were also shocked. F***CK? It's over? Chapter 2781. Can someone tell me what happened? Everyone in the cabin was shocked. The crystal was broken? Karkat shouldn't be so irrational, right? He destroyed his own crystal because of Yi Zichen's threat? He doesn't want the position of Her Highness anymore? That's impossible. If Yi Zichen was in his position, he would definitely consider how to draw. That was because this time's trial, regardless of whether he won or lost, was not particularly good for him. After a long period of silence, Meng Luo pursed her lips and looked at Yi Zichen for a long time. Great deity, did we win? I don't think so. Didn't you say that they still had 12 hours to fight? Yi Zichen's voice was also filled with confusion and confusion. How did it break? I'm not sure. To be honest, Yi Zichen was no less confused than the others. If they obtained a few camps at the very beginning, then it could be understood as Karkat bribing the sacred region's people. However, the crystal was destroyed. All of a sudden, Yi Zichen's expression tensed up. He opened his eyes wide, then slowly opened his mouth, as if he had thought of a certain possibility. Yi, what is it? I think I know. With that, Yi Zichen frowned towards Baal. Baal, contact the spiritual phoenix sovereign for me. It's the spiritual phoenix sovereign? Everyone else in the cabin sucked in a breath of cold air. Yi Zichen pursed his lips and frowned as he waited for the call to be picked up. She didn't accept. Approximately half a minute later, Bailey shook his head. Then I'm 80% sure that it's her. Yi Zichen suddenly felt confident. Yi Zichen suddenly felt confident, then frowned. It's very likely that Sovereign Spirit Phoenix did it. It really was the spiritual Phoenix Sovereign? Tianhai frowned. It's possible. Yi Zichen nodded, then raised his eyebrows towards Tianhai. Tianhai, do you remember? It was the spiritual Phoenix Sovereign's suggestion when I decided to send out troops. What's more, she also said that she would come after a while, and sent out a universal notice. That's right. Tianhai nodded. He remembered this very clearly. If the person who destroyed the crystal was truly the spiritual Phoenix Sovereign, then everything made sense. The location of the energy crystal. It must be the enemy's main camp. That place would be heavily guarded, and there would be 4 venerable experts and a dozen monarch experts among them. He wanted to destroy the crystal under the noses of these experts without anyone noticing. That's impossible. Yi Zichen and company had tested the energy crystal's defensive capabilities before. Even a peak Wild Ox King's full-powered attack was unable to empty the crystal's energy slot. The energy slot should be the toughness of the crystal. After the energy slot was emptied, the crystal might shatter if it was attacked again. As for whether or not that was the case, Yi Zichen and company didn't test it. They were also afraid that the crystal would be destroyed. The energy in the energy slot would recover over time, so there was no need to secretly deplete the energy inside the energy slot bit by bit. Simply put, he wanted to destroy it. It would require at least several king-level experts, or perhaps hundreds of venerables, to destroy it. Either that, or he would launch continuous attacks. The damage caused by the attack was greater than the energy recovery of the energy bar. The latter was actually quite unlikely. With the venerables present, they wouldn't allow anyone else to destroy the crystal. Even if the trial had nothing to do with them, this was related to the Tsangyue Galaxy and the Virtual World Corporation's reputation. In consideration of Planet Lord Tsangyue, they had to ensure the crystal's safety. What's more, it really had been destroyed. Their expressions didn't look good. They were 4 venerables after all. It was one thing if the crystal was sent away, but it was destroyed right under their noses. Where would they put their faces? There was also another important point. The Ancestral Dragon Clan's report. The report was very short. It took less than 3 minutes for the 2 battleship camps to be replaced, and less than 5 minutes for the crystal to be destroyed. It was clear that it was a one-time attack. Or rather, forcefully destroying the crystal while the venerables were already paying attention. So that's how it should be. Only the spiritual Phoenix Sovereign could do it. The spiritual Phoenix Sovereign came so quickly, Tianhai frowned. Yi Zichen also frowned. Let's hurry back. Go back? Meng Luo blinked. We're not going back to the camp? What's the point of going to the camp? The crystal has been destroyed. As a member of the Red Faction, the World Domination Kingdom will definitely know about it. If the Venerable Spirit Phoenix is really there, they won't be able to repair the crystal. If they want to reverse the situation, they will have to destroy our crystal to stop the damage. Yi Zichen replied. The tyrannical world ruler will attack? More or less. Yi Zichen nodded. If it really is the Venerable Spirit Phoenix, then the World Domination Kingdom's ruler should have received the order and attacked without a care in the world. We can't delay any longer. We have to go back as soon as possible. What if Venerable Spirit Phoenix isn't there? It's not important anymore. Yi Zichen pursed his lips and frowned. It doesn't matter if the person over there is the Spirit Phoenix or not. Their crystal has already been destroyed. We must ensure the safety of our crystal within the next 12 hours. Then, Yi Zichen tilted his head towards Bailey. Send a video call request to Supreme Spirit Phoenix every 5 minutes. Don't be too frequent. I'm guessing that the person there should be Venerable Spirit Phoenix. Understood. Unbeknownst to them, at this moment, in the Red Side's headquarters. What the hell is that? Venerable Spirit Phoenix, who was standing in the air, looked down at the destroyed energy crystal. To say something that others wouldn't believe. She didn't know what the crystal was for, and she didn't intentionally destroy it. It was the impact from her cosmic energy that shattered the crystal. Red side? What's with the blue side? Venerable Spirit Phoenix muttered. I'm from the blue side? This can't be the arm of the ancestral dragon clan, right? Did I mess up the ancestral dragon clan's trial? The ancestral dragon clan can't come and find me, right? Never mind if they want to, I'm not afraid of them. With that, Venerable Spirit Phoenix ignored the crystal beneath her and looked up at the 4 sovereigns in front of her with a look of disdain. Do the 4 of you recognize me? Venerable Spirit Phoenix, the white-browed sovereign in the lead said solemnly. I didn't expect you to come as well. Whitebrow, Venerable Spirit Phoenix twitched her mouth. Geezer, you're actually still alive. I just happen to have a debt to settle with you. Since you're a sovereign, I'll give you a dignified death. I'll let you self-destruct your divine body. I hope you'll treasure it. Otherwise, you know very well that if I attack, I can easily destroy 20% of your divine body with a single palm strike. Then, even if you self-destruct, you won't be able to. As soon as she said that, the Venerable Spirit Phoenix stood in the void and smiled. How about it? Are you going to self-destruct? Chapter 2782. A cool breeze caressed his face. Venerable Spirit Phoenix stood alone in the air above the invaders' headquarters. In front of her were 4 lofty universe supremacies. On the periphery, there were also more than 10 country lords glaring like tigers watching their prey. Below them was a dense mass of kings, dukes, marquises, and earls. There were countless titled experts, but none of them dared to make a move. Those below the monarch level didn't even dare to stand above them. They knew very well that they were not qualified to stand against the Venerable Spirit Phoenix. Even the monarchs were feeling uneasy. 2 supremacies of the Fire Phoenix clan. Whether it was the venerable ones who controlled fire and life, or the venerable ones who controlled destruction and space, they were not people that people of their level could come into contact with. The former was still alright as it was still reasonable. As for the latter, even if the utmost being was here, she would still choose not to give him any face. Surprisingly, the person who came was the latter. Whitebrow, don't play dumb. Venerable Spirit Phoenix twisted her neck. Letting you self-detonate is giving you face. Don't waste my time. Venerable Spirit Phoenix, I don't know how I have offended you. Whitebrow muttered. The white-browed Venerable Lord dared not show any anger even after hearing what Lingfeng said. He asked in a rather humble tone. From this, it could be seen how high the exalted Spirit Phoenix's status was. There's no grudge between us. Honored Spirit Phoenix shrugged her shoulders. Those who have a direct grudge against me would at least be a level 5 overlord. A honored like you isn't qualified. The white-browed Venerable One lowered his eyes and did not say a word. Everyone else kept quiet out of fear when they heard the Venerable Spirit Phoenix's words, but no one doubted her at all. She did have that kind of strength. Even though she was only at the pinnacle of the martial honor state, even a pinnacle overlord might not be able to suppress her strength. Thousands of years ago, she had even fought against Star Lord Songyue. At that time, Songyue was already a supreme being. Even so, the Venerable Spirit Phoenix persisted for half a day before leaving through space. As for why she wanted to cause trouble for Planet Master Songyue, no one knew. However, it was also that battle that allowed everyone to directly understand the Venerable Spirit Phoenix's strength. If that's the case, why did the Venerable One bring up the grudge between us? The older you guys are, the more there are. She shrugged. There are many possibilities for me to find you. For example, Tian Hai is my brother's friend, and you invade his universe country. My brother isn't happy, and I'm unhappy too. May I know who your younger brother is, the Galactic Overlord? The white-browed Venerable One frowned and glanced at the crystal on the ground. So you're fighting for the Milky Way Lord's victory in the trial? Trial? The Venerable Spirit Phoenix glanced at the crystal beneath her feet. Are you talking about this? That's not it. I don't even know what this is for. Wasn't this crystal shattered by the energy fluctuations when you guys came to look for me? The supremacies fell silent again. Venerable Spirit Phoenix hated this kind of person the most. Let's not talk anymore. Play dumb. White Brow, I'll let you die knowing that the grudge between you and me was actually a promise I made to someone else. Do you have any impression of the Heavenly Lotus Monarch? Venerable Spirit Phoenix said. He knows you? He's locked up in my 9th prison. He's now under my command. He submitted to me, and my condition is to kill you. To be honest, you're quite shameless. His daughter doesn't want to be with you, so you forced her? She tried to reason with you, but you sent her to prison. Are you even human? You even annihilated her entire family. White Brow, you're too much. The Venerable Spirit Phoenix was speechless. In an instant, the white-browed Venerable One's expression changed drastically. He had indeed done such a thing before, but it had happened tens of thousands of years ago. Now, the Venerable Spirit Phoenix had revealed this matter in front of so many people. Spirit Phoenix, I'll give you 10 seconds to consider. The Venerable Spirit Phoenix couldn't be bothered with him. She stood in the void and stretched her waist lazily. Then, she stretched out her fingers. 5, 3, die. She didn't give him a 10-second countdown at all. From the start of the countdown until the end, it was less than 2 seconds. As soon as she finished speaking, she disappeared from the void. When she reappeared, she was already in front of White Brow. One palm. She said she would do it. White Brow couldn't react in time at all. The seemingly light palm landed on his body. When White Brow wanted to retract his hand, the Venerable Spirit Phoenix had already returned to her previous position. All right, you can't self-destruct your divine body anymore. Everyone listened to the Venerable Spirit Phoenix's words in shock. One palm. 20% of his divine body was destroyed? Judging from the current situation, the white-browed Venerable didn't seem to be injured at all. However, he didn't know that only he himself knew. The white-browed Venerable looked at the Venerable Spirit Phoenix in horror. Then, he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. His divine body was destroyed. A full 30%. When the other Venerables noticed the white-browed Venerable's gaze, their expressions changed drastically. They could sense the white-browed Venerable's divine body disintegrating. All of you aren't on the same level as me. To be honest, I also feel that I'm bullying all of you by coming here. Unfortunately, White Brow, I'm also working for someone. Don't blame me. As for the others, I'll give you a choice. Either take your people and scram, or I'll leave all of you here. It's just that it's a bit troublesome to clean up. There seem to be at least 1 billion of them, and the weakest seems to be at the universe level. You can all surrender. Then, White Brow, I'll give you some time to consider. Self-destruct your energy. The Venerable Spirit Phoenix's words were very relaxed. From her words, it was obvious that she had the absolute authority. 1 billion? It wasn't even enough. If it were 1 billion Venerables, she might be afraid. Unfortunately, they were all salted fish. Everyone's expression turned solemn. Other than the Venerables, to be honest, most of them were shocked at the Venerable Spirit Phoenix's dominance. Facing so many people, so many experts, she spoke as though killing them was as easy as flipping her palm. She even wanted them to surrender. Think about it. My little brother will video call me. I'll talk to him. With that, the Venerable Spirit Phoenix didn't look at them anymore and accepted the video call. Hey, little brother, what's up? Big Sis Spirit Phoenix, did you destroy the energy crystal just now? The moment the video call was accepted, Yi Zichen frowned. Where are you right now? Me? The Venerable Spirit Phoenix turned around. Look where I am. Instantly, the image of hundreds of millions of experts in the air was sent to Yi Zichen's side. Seeing that, everyone in the cabin gulped. Yourself? Yeah, do we need a lot of people to deal with them? The Venerable Spirit Phoenix said in disdain. She didn't forget to point at the Venerables. Hurry up and think about it. I don't have much time. Be careful, or I'll kill you. Chapter 2783. Venerable Lingfeng, so domineering. The people in the cabin all muttered to themselves. She stood alone in the red side's base, pointed at the noses of the other sovereigns, and told them to make a decision. She even told them to hurry up and kill them if they were slow. Her tone made it seem like their lives were already in the hands of the venerable Lingfeng. Dealing with them was as simple as raising her hand. Yi Zichen pursed his lips. He wasn't too surprised by the venerable Lingfeng's actions. She even dared to rob a human prison. She even broke out with the entire prison. Since she dared to do such a thing, what wouldn't she dare to do? Sis, what decision do you want them to make? Nothing much. I just want them to scram with their people, or submit. The worst-case scenario is for me to keep them here, the venerable Lingfeng said casually. I still hope that they can leave. It's rather troublesome to deal with the corpses here. Venerable Lingfeng. At that moment, Tianhai suddenly appeared. Tianhai, you've recovered? The venerable Lingfeng smiled. I'll help you take back the Universe Nation, but I think you should sell it. How about you go to the Milky Way galaxy? That's easy. Tianhai didn't really care about the ownership of the Universe Nation. A close friend of mine, Jingling, is with them. Don't hurt her by accident. Is that so? Let me take a look. As she spoke, the venerable Lingfeng spread out her Universe Divine Sense. Then, she hooked her finger. Instantly, a building below exploded. A woman with disheveled hair and an energy seal flew out from the building. She was still bleeding. Is that her? Jingling! Tianhai was furious. The woman, who seemed like she was about to lose consciousness, looked up with difficulty when she heard the voice in the virtual screen. Tianhai. Then, she noticed that she was no longer in a sealed room. Instead, she was being enveloped by the venerable Lingfeng's Universe Divine Sense and floating in the air. Is this your woman? The venerable Lingfeng shrugged. She used the Universe Divine Sense to shatter the seal, then poured it into Jingling. She was replenished with energy. Jingling's complexion improved a lot. You can fly now, right? Yes, thank you, Senior. Jingling replied cautiously. Then, she looked around and noticed the venerables, kings, and countless warriors around them. Jingling, the one beside you is Venerable Spirit Phoenix. She will bring you to me later. Tianhai said nervously. I don't have the time. Venerable Spirit Phoenix hurriedly waved her hand. I have other matters to deal with in a while. You can come and pick him up yourself. All right. Do you need me to avenge you? Venerable Spirit Phoenix shrugged. The person who hurt your woman. I can kill him for you. Anyway, killing one is killing two is also killing. It makes no difference to me. Sure. Tianhai nodded. At this time, it would be too ridiculous to say that he was taking revenge. A venerable. They weren't that easy to kill. Even though he was a peak-level supremacy, he knew that there was a huge gap between him and the Venerable Spirit Phoenix. Even though he also had the chance to kill those supremacies, it definitely wouldn't be as easy as the Venerable Spirit Phoenix. In any case, they would all be from the Milky Way galaxy. He didn't mind owing a few favors. You nodded rather quickly. Venerable Spirit Phoenix nodded. Then let's do this for now. I will definitely kill him for you. Hurry up and deal with your matters over there, then come over to wrap things up. Sis, be careful. Yi Zichen reminded her before the call ended. No one can hurt me. Don't worry. After the video call ended, the Venerable Spirit Phoenix smiled as she watched the scene disappear in front of her. She was cared for. Actually, this was the reason why she cared so much about Yi Zichen. From the time they got to know each other, he had never looked at her with a strange gaze like everyone else in the universe. What's more, she felt something that seemed to be familial love from Yi Zichen. She had never felt such a feeling, not even from her younger sister. The more a person lacked something, the more they desired something, and the more they treasured it all. What Yi Zichen gave her was what she lacked, what she desired, and what she treasured. If other people knew that the Venerable Spirit Phoenix and Yi Zichen's relationship was so simple and pure, they would definitely be very shocked. But that was the truth. Everyone's eyes were filled with fear when they looked at her. They felt that she was a jinx and they had to avoid her. Even if some people didn't do that, they wouldn't get too close to her, much less act like Yi Zichen. Although he seemed casual, he was filled with genuine concern. This brat. Venerable Spirit Phoenix shook her head and hooked her finger at Jingling. Come here. Jingling walked to the Supremacy's side obediently and pursed her lips without saying a word. She was actually a little afraid. The Venerable Spirit Phoenix, who controlled destruction and space, was famous throughout the universe. Everyone knew that this was a devil who killed without batting an eye. Even the heinous criminals of the 9th prison didn't dare to act recklessly under her jurisdiction. Are you afraid of me? The Spirit Phoenix raised her brows. Forget it. There aren't many people in this universe who aren't afraid of me. What about you? You're actually a king stage. How did you get captured? I am here to save Tianhai. Jing Ling answered honestly. Yourself? My clansmen as well, they are all imprisoned at. I know. Before Jing Ling could finish, Venerable Spirit Phoenix spoke up. Is it where you imprison them? I can feel their auras. Don't worry, I won't harm them. Thank you. You're too polite. You are Tianhai's woman, so you're half my little bro's woman. I didn't save you for nothing. You should have a family behind you since you are a king. Tell your family to join the Milky Way galaxy after you return. Tell them that I, Venerable Spirit Phoenix, told them to. All right. Jingling did not dare to hesitate and gently nodded her head. Point. Who injured you? Who sealed you? Who attacked you? Tell me. Venerable Spirit Phoenix spoke up. Don't be afraid. Whoever you point at will die. Ling Feng. Don't go overboard. All of a sudden, a burly man among the venerables shouted. So anxious? It seems like you're here. The moment Venerable Spirit Phoenix said that, the space around the Supremacy instantly shattered like a mirror. The Supremacy also shattered into countless pieces along with the mirror. With a light tap of her finger, the pieces turned into sparkling crystals. As for that Supremacy, he disappeared without a trace. Only his weapon, armor, auxiliary divine artifact, and spatial divine artifact remained. Venerable Spirit Phoenix raised her arm. These pieces of equipment condensed into a spatial entity and floated into her palm. Jingling, who saw this scene, was completely stunned. She couldn't comprehend what had just happened. Supremacy? He died just like that. Don't be in a daze. Who else? Whoever you point at will die. Chapter 2784. All the participants who were paying attention to the results of the red and blue trials, upon seeing the appearance of the Venerable Spirit Phoenix, they all exclaimed without exception. They had all expected the outcome. The red side had lost. As the most uncontrolled venerable in the history of the human race, she possessed the destruction Tao that countless powerful beings of the human race feared, as well as the spatial techniques that countless powerful beings envied. Even though she did not have the ability to be reborn among the human race, she was recognized as an undying body. Because no one could kill her. Even a mature spatial elemental spirit could not compare to her in terms of spatial attainment. Her mastery of space was even higher than that of the supreme beings of the universe. If she wanted to leave, no one could stop her. With her mastery of space, she could instantly shatter anyone's seal on space. And vice versa. If she wanted to kill someone, no one could leave. She mastered space. She could easily seal the space around her enemies. Even if someone wanted to escape through space, she could easily crush the space tunnel. This was the Venerable Spirit Phoenix, the #1 Overlord Venerable. Isn't this cheating? In a certain warship, His Majesty looked at the situation of the red and blue sides and gritted his teeth. From his expression, it could be seen that he had bet on the red side. What kind of existence is the venerable spirit phoenix? If she joins the battle now, no one can be her match. What is the ancestral dragon clan doing? Don't they have any restrictions on the members of both sides? His Majesty, who had already predicted defeat, could not help but shout in the cabin. The others in the cabin also kept quiet out of fear. Under such circumstances, no one dared to comfort him. They could understand His Majesty's feelings. Bet all their points on the red side. Fail. Deduct the corresponding amount of point. In other words, their points would become negative. Moreover, even they felt the same way as His Majesty. The participation of the Venerable Spirit Phoenix did have a certain impact on fairness. This was because no overlord or venerable one could be mentioned in the same breath as her in this universe, unless the Supreme One came personally. But everyone knew that the Supreme One was definitely high and mighty. No Supreme One would do such a thing. Moreover, everyone knew that Karkat's red side represented Star Lord Songyue. Why would Star Lord Songyue come to such a place? Thus, the moment the Venerable Spirit Phoenix appeared, the red side had already lost. Of course, among those who had lost their bets, not everyone was as tyrannical as His Majesty. Your Majesty, we seem to have bet on the wrong side. Your Majesty, we seem to have bet on the wrong side. The blue-haired youth in the cabin nodded slightly. His azure-blue eyes were filled with warmth. The Venerable Spirit Phoenix was calm. But in the face of failure, he did it calmly. When it comes to betting, there are always winners and losers. Our bets are also in accordance with our hearts. If we lose, we lose. His Majesty chuckled. Not only was he not affected by the loss of his bet, but he was also very confident. His voice was still gentle as he comforted the other people in his cabin with a smile. Everyone, don't feel pressured. The Protoss once had an old saying, "A blessing in disguise may not be a blessing in disguise." We might have lost this time, but it doesn't mean that we will lose when we enter the ancestral dragon clan. Your Majesty, it doesn't mean that we will lose when we enter the ancestral dragon tribe. Your Majesty, you are really open-minded. Our difficulty is 64 times. A king-level man in the cabin muttered. That's right. This Majesty's Guard was a king level. To put it simply, the ancestral dragon tribe did not cheat him. He was the one who purposely went against the ancestral dragon tribe's request. A person should be magnanimous. The Venerable Spirit Phoenix had a gentle look in his eyes. We cannot rejoice for victory or mourn for defeat. Those who can be affected by emotions are destined not to become the strongest in the world. Moreover, the Venerable Spirit Phoenix had already said that she would participate in this battle. We are aware of these conditions. It is understandable that we lost in the end. Moreover, even without the Venerable Spirit Phoenix, the blue side still won. Third brother, why did the blue side win? A young lady in the cabin muttered. Could it be the points? But isn't Karkat already preparing? No. The Venerable Spirit Phoenix shook his head. Because Chun-Un and Yi-Shing bet on the blue side. Chun-Un and Yi-Shing? The young lady frowned. You mean the gambler Yi-Shing from the senior Wenli's family and the Kai Yuan Empire's third prince, the Chun-Un who can pick up ancient artifacts while walking? The king-level man frowned. Yes. Then it is not strange. When they knew that the two of them had placed their bets, the others in the cabin seemed to have a matter-of-fact expression. Who are the two of them? Only the young lady's eyes were filled with curiosity. It was as if she did not know much about the two of them. Miss, you are still young, so you do not know these things. There was a Marquis in the cabin. He was wearing armor, and he looked like a general. He said, "Those two are legends in the human universe." What kind of legendary? Let's talk about this Yi-Shing. The armored man smiled and said, He is the direct descendant of leader Wenli's family. He is addicted to gambling his entire life, but he always says that he does not like to gamble. As for him, from the moment he was born, he had never lost a single gamble, whether he participated in it, made it, or started a bet. Oh, is that so? The young lady nodded. As for that Chernan, when Chernan was mentioned, the armored man could not help but laugh. He is a person who accumulates the fate of the universe. Why do you say that? He is the incarnation of luck. Just now, Senior Tai Sheng also said that he can pick up an ancient artifact while walking. Even if he falls on the ground, he will find a heavenly artifact. The man smiled bitterly. A person will experience many kinds of tribulations in their life, but it seems like it does not count for him. He knows how to count. Suddenly, the blue-haired young man frowned. No one knows everything. When a person's luck is too smooth, it means that he will fall. Both Chen En and Yixing are about to fall. Actually, I already knew that the two of them had placed their bets on the blue side. I purposely placed my bet on the red side to see if the two of them would fall. Unfortunately, I failed. Brother, my luck is also very smooth, the young lady muttered. So you have to be careful. The blue-haired youth raised his hand and caressed the young girl's head. Little sister, the reason why I brought you to the ancestral dragon clan is to let you suffer a setback. Father and the rest might be hoping that you can have a meteoric rise, but I hope that you will suffer a setback. Sometimes the earlier you fail, the better. Being too smooth is not a blessing, but a curse. I have fallen before. It was in our house's courtyard. It hurt a lot. The young lady wrinkled her nose. It's not the same. The blue-haired young man smiled and shook his head. I think that the fall that you fell is the kind that will take your life. Little sister, don't blame Big Brother for not wanting you to be well. Big Brother really hopes that you will be well. Do you still remember what I told you previously? You told me to be domineering in the ancestral dragon tribe. Right. The young man nodded his head in satisfaction. That's right. Be domineering until you fall. Remember, once you fall, don't continue. Because it is enough. Chapter 2785. The young girl nodded obediently. She was willing to listen to everything that her brother said. On the other hand, the others in the cabin seemed to have some conflict with the blue-haired youth's twisted logic. Even the king-class expert frowned slightly. It was not a good thing for one's life to be too smooth. But no one was willing to take the initiative to experience hardship. The blue-haired youth noticed the expressions of the people in the cabin. He knew that there were definitely people who could not understand his philosophy. He did not care. He only needed to know that everything he did was for his sister's sake. Experts who had experienced countless setbacks and hardships were much more tenacious than those experts who had a smooth life. But I have to say, Honored Spirit Phoenix's strength is really incomprehensible. The blue-haired youth turned back to look at the screen. Everyone in the cabin had seen the scene of Honored Spirit Phoenix killing a supremacy in an instant. That required strength. Even an overlord would not be able to do it. Even a supremacy would not be able to kill a supremacy so easily. Venerable Spirit Phoenix has mastered destruction and space. Her strength is indeed very hard to fathom. The king-class expert, Tai Xing, declined to comment. Those who can contend with Venerable Spirit Phoenix are probably the Supremes. Not necessarily. The blue-haired youth shook his head. I don't know why, but I have a feeling that Honored Spirit Phoenix's strength is already above that of a supremacy. As for why she is still a supremacy, I'm not sure. The blue-haired youth's words were shocking. Perhaps it was because the others were used to this Majesty's shocking words that they did not make a sound. A supremacy surpasses a supremacy. No matter how they heard it, it sounded ridiculous. Brother. At this moment, the young girl who had been warned by the blue-haired youth raised her head. You said that it's not good for people to be too smooth, but Yixing and Chen seem to be pretty good. Moreover, they have always been so smooth. I'm only 13, do I need to stumble? Yes, and it's very necessary. The blue-haired youth said seriously. Moreover, they might not always be smooth. Just like now, it might not be the blue side's victory. It might even be a draw. A draw? Yes, a draw. Not only did Her Majesty not understand, even white-browed supremacy and the rest were dumbfounded. Dead. The few supremacies silently watched the supremacy disappear. A dignified venerable of a generation, an expert with less than 10,000 cultivation realms in the entire human race universe, was killed by a casual finger? Not a single trace was left. Jingling stared at the scene with her mouth agape. She had no idea what had just happened. Wasn't that person just now a venerable expert? It should be noted that there was not a single venerable in her clan, and the strongest among them was a king. Even so, their family was considered a first-rate family in the galaxy. All the humans in the galaxy were very courteous to their family. This was only what being a monarch brought them. She had always been looking forward to the day she became a venerable one. However, ever since he came to the sacred universe country, she discovered, the country leader, it was nothing at all. In the end, the Heavenly Sea venerable experts had no choice but to burn their divine bodies and self-detonate their elemental spirits to escape. The number of experts invading the sacred region universe countries were over 10 country lord-level experts. There were also 4 venerables. She had personally seen a country lord die in front of her, and not even a ripple could be felt. It was also at that time that she truly understood the power of the venerables. The venerables and country leaders, even though they were only 1 level apart, the difference in strength was like the difference between heaven and earth. However, just now, what did she see? A venerable was insta-killed. This directly toppled her worldview. Sister, who else is there? Point. The venerable spirit phoenix looked calmly across, pointing at the venerables. Everyone here, no matter who it is, whoever you point at will die. The venerables across creased their eyebrows. At this time, Venerable Spirit Phoenix! What, you can't even stand? Don't tell me you're the one who injured her. The Venerable Spirit Phoenix creased her eyebrows. White Brow Venerable shook his head. Our Star Lord wants to speak to you. Who? Our Star Lord. Immediately, the surrounding venerables and country leaders all had a change in expression. Star Lord. To be spoken to in such a tone by White Brow Venerable, there was only one in the entire universe. Sonua Star Lord. Cold Moon? The Venerable Spirit Phoenix suddenly laughed. He's quite concerned about you guys. White Brow, you're a venerable after all, yet you don't want to deal with the problem and instead want to rescue her. Why, do you think I won't do anything to you just because you brought out Cold Moon? It was the venerables who contacted me. White Brow frowned. Is that so? The Venerable Spirit Phoenix's tone was somewhat sarcastic. All right, let him out. I happen to have something to say to him. In an instant, a projection appeared in the void. In the video, a man with long blue hair was soaking in a hot spring, holding a glass of red wine. This person was Star-Lord Cold Moon. Star-Lord. All the experts knelt on one knee, greeting Star-Lord Cold Moon. Star-Lord Cold Moon gently raised her hand and raised her eyebrows at the Venerable Spirit Phoenix. Spirit Phoenix. Cold Moon. I haven't seen you for many years, yet you're still as elegant as before. Star-Lord Cold Moon's eyes were blurry, and for some reason, the surrounding people seemed to see something unusual in her eyes. It was as if she couldn't get what she wanted. The Venerable Spirit Phoenix's expression was cold. There's no need to tell me this. I looked down on you back then, and I still look down on you now. You're despicable enough. How does the Milky Way Master treat you? He treats me like his own brother. Star-Lord Cold Moon muttered. How did you do it? I treat him like a brother, like a father. Star-Lord Cold Moon's expression was serious. Spirit Phoenix, I know what you want to say, but there's no need. I don't care what you say. I have a clear conscience. Some time ago, when Lee came to me and lectured me, I didn't refute her. I'll take all the resentment in your hearts. I can treat everyone this way because they don't deserve to listen to my explanation, but you? What about me? The Milky Way galaxy's destruction was not my doing. Star-Lord Cold Moon's sword-like eyebrows sank. Back then, I did bring people to help, but I encountered a strange thing on the way. I don't know why, but when I went to the Milky Way galaxy, I seemed to enter a dimensional space. No matter how I sailed, I couldn't get out. By the time I got out, the Milky Way galaxy had already been destroyed. Is that so? Spirit Phoenix murmured. Spirit Phoenix, you have to believe me. I can tolerate everyone suspecting me, but you. I don't want you to think of me as a bad person. I, Cold Moon, know how to repay favors. Star-Lord Cold Moon's words were sincere, and she desperately wanted Venerable Spirit Phoenix's approval. Only blew the arch, they all thought I did it, but why did I do it? Star-Lord Sangyue suddenly shouted. I have everything I need. Why did I destroy the Milky Way galaxy? I could have had so many allies. Why did I make such a strong enemy for myself? Then why did you hunt down the Milky Way Master? In an instant, Star-Lord Sangyue fell silent. Why aren't you talking? Venerable Spirit Phoenix laughed. Aren't you very eloquent? Why don't you say it out loud? I can't say it. Cold Moon shook her head. Why can't you say it? I'll let you say it. Venerable Spirit Phoenix glared. If you can't say it, then there's no need for us to continue this conversation. That's not the Milky Way Master. You've all been deceived. Chapter 2786. Outside the projection, an energy barrier had unknowingly been set up around the winged phoenix sage and the projection. The White Brow Elder and the other elders, as well as the country leaders, didn't know what was going on inside. What they knew was that the Sangyue Star Master and the winged phoenix sage seemed to have a special relationship. White Brow, what are the Star Master and winged phoenix sage talking about? A black-robed old man said softly. He too had the strength of a knight. Knight level 7. Even though he wasn't at the pinnacle, he was still an upper-level knight. His strength was heavenly. He was an earth elemental controller with shocking defense. However, at this time, he was filled with anxiety. He was also one of the people who were injured. The winged phoenix sage had already acted earlier, and he had clearly seen his fellow knight get sliced up by the dimension space, turning into light dots, not leaving a single god behind. Under this kind of intimidation, he was a little worried. If the startling spirit finger recognized him, would he be able to survive with his own strength? He didn't have much confidence. Who knows? The White Brow Elder said softly, glancing at the black-robed elder's expression. Are you afraid? Being asked so bluntly, the black-robed elder's face couldn't take it anymore. Thinking about it, the winged phoenix sage indeed had strength worthy of the elders and overlord's fear, hence he nodded calmly. That's right. Don't worry, the Star Master needs us knights to work for him. Since the Star Master has personally appeared, we won't have any problems. The White Brow Elder's expression was calm, following which he frowned. It's just that we might have to leave the Sacred Universe country. Let's leave then. The black-robed elder was much more carefree. Compared to the resources and wealth of the Sacred Universe country, compared to the lives of their knights, it was insignificant. Moreover, other than the resources of the Sacred Universe country, what they could get was pretty much all they could get. Retreating didn't cost them much. I didn't expect the Star Master and the Winged Phoenix Sage to actually. The black-robed elder hesitated. Sangyue Star Master, the strongest warrior of the universe. Such an expert naturally had many who admired him. However, he didn't have any rumors with anyone. For such a long time, he had never shown even the slightest bit of affection towards anyone. Who would have thought that Star Lord Sangyue would have such thoughts about Venerable Spirit Phoenix? Don't talk nonsense. The matters of the Star Lord aren't something we can discuss. White-browed Supremacy whispered. The black-robed Supremacy gently shrugged. I was just casually saying it. I just hope that Supremacy Spirit Phoenix can give our Star Lord some face. As for the rest, I don't care. That's right, White-brow. Hegemon World left a long time ago, right? Why hasn't there been any news from him yet? Not sure. White-browed Supremacy shook his head. I don't have much contact with him. Let's not bother about him now. The trial is no longer important to us. That's true. With that, the two Supremacies looked at Star-Lord Songyue and Venerable Spirit Phoenix, waiting for the final result. The Venerable Spirit Phoenix frowned. Just now, she heard an explanation that made her feel extremely ridiculous. You mean that's not the Master of the Galaxy? The Venerable Spirit Phoenix's expression was as disdainful as it could be. She shook her head and looked at the projection of Star-Lord Songyue. Songyue, this kind of lie is a little ridiculous. Immediately after, she noticed the energy seal around her. You did this? Too many people can't know about this. From Star-Lord Songyue's answer, it was clear that the seal here was indeed her doing. You can already deploy cosmic energy through the virtual network? That's not important. Star-Lord Songyue frowned. Spirit Phoenix, you have to believe me. I've only told you about this. Everyone thinks that I'm chasing after the Master of the Galaxy, but the person I'm chasing isn't him. That person isn't the Master of the Galaxy. You've all been deceived by him. Is that so? Lingfeng, I'm telling you sincerely that everything I've said is true. Star-Lord Songyue tried her best to persuade her. I am one of the people who understands the Master of the Galaxy the most. In fact, tens of thousands of years before the Milky Way was destroyed, I suspected that the person in charge of the Milky Way was not the Master of the Galaxy. Since then, I've been investigating and deliberately reduced my contact with the Milky Way. I'm doing this to protect my star system and also to facilitate the investigation. Continue. The Venerable Spirit Phoenix nodded. Unfortunately, in the middle of my investigation, the other party seemed to have discovered my investigation. After that, the Milky Way galaxy was destroyed. My cautious retreat became the starting point for him to slander me. Star-Lord Songyue whispered. Obviously, he succeeded. I'm hated by the Milky Way, Wenli, and Blue Emperor. The human race is falling apart. That guy's plot succeeded. Plot? Yes, he wanted to use this to destroy our universe. If he didn't do this, our universe would be impregnable. According to what you said, the person who disguised himself as the Master of the Galaxy is from an extraterrestrial race. That's right. Songyue nodded seriously. According to my investigation, he is indeed from an extraterrestrial race. Then may I ask, where is the Master of the Galaxy? The Venerable Spirit Phoenix narrowed her eyes. You keep saying that he is from an extraterrestrial race. Why didn't you say it directly? Why did you have to hide it? Also, it was your suggestion to hunt down the remnants of the Milky Way. It was also your suggestion to hunt down the Master of the Galaxy. Because they are not from the Master of the Milky Way. How long do you want me to say before you understand? Star-Lord Songyue seemed to be on the verge of breaking down. Songyue, do you think I'm easy to fool? The Venerable Spirit Phoenix said softly. Why don't you believe me? How do you expect me to believe you? The Venerable Spirit Phoenix frowned. You said that the extraterrestrial race disguised themselves as the Master of the Galaxy. Wenli and Blue Emperor didn't realize it, but you did. Also, you said that the destruction of tens of thousands of years ago was a disguise by the extraterrestrial race. Then let me ask you, where did the Master of the Galaxy go? Don't tell me that he was assassinated by the extraterrestrial race. Do you think the extraterrestrial race has that kind of strength? If they had such experts, they could easily invade the human race's hinterland. Songyue, even if you want to lie, you have to say it better. I'm not lying. Songyue insisted. Heh. You said it yourself, Spirit Phoenix. No one will believe this lie of mine. But why did I say it? Do you think I can't come up with a more reasonable lie? The projected Star-Lord Songyue shouted angrily. Why did I say such a lie that no one will believe? There is only one possibility. I said it. It's the truth. Chapter 2787. It had to be said. Star-Lord Songyue's words were a little convincing to the venerable spirit phoenix. Such a lie was too fake. Anyone who heard it would think that Star-Lord Songyue was lying. Moreover, with his brain, although the venerable spirit phoenix did not have a good impression of him, it was undeniable that as someone who could become a supreme being, no matter how stupid he was, he could still make up an excuse that sounded absolutely reasonable. There was no need for him to insist on this. Such a ridiculous excuse. But the venerable spirit phoenix still did not believe him. Heh! The venerable spirit phoenix laughed coldly. Hearing her sneer, Star-Lord Songyue's frown deepened. Spirit Phoenix, you really, turn back. Right now, our human race universe is really too dangerous. There is an unknown race that has infiltrated the universe where our human race live. And then, I can't be sure. The Milky Way Master is the only one being disguised. I now suspect that Wenli and Blue Emperor are also disguised. The real Wenli and Blue Emperor might already be gone. Star-Lord Songyue frowned. Songyue, you're really something. Inexplicably, the venerable spirit phoenix nodded with a smile. In the beginning, she had thought that Star-Lord Songyue's words were illogical. Now it seemed she had thought too much. He was laying the groundwork for what would happen next. An unknown race. A leader in disguise. You can't be telling me that this is the reason why you started a war among the humans, right? The venerable spirit phoenix could not help but clap. Good thinking, good excuse. Pushing all the blame to an unknown race. Star-Lord Songyue, you're too creative. I'm not lying. Star-Lord Songyue maintained her original words. I'm telling the truth. Also, I didn't start the war among the humans. It was Wenli. If you don't believe me, you can think about it. Was she or I the one who started the war? No matter who it was, it doesn't matter to me. The venerable spirit phoenix shrugged. All right, I don't want to argue with you anymore. Now I'll talk to you about something serious. Speak. You have to decide if these people want to leave or not. The venerable spirit phoenix pointed at the people outside. If they don't, I'll kill them all. If you want to leave, that's fine, but those paragons and the monarch have to stay. They hurt Tianhai's woman, and I promised Tianhai that I would help him settle this. Spirit Phoenix. Star-Lord Songyue's gaze sunk. Lord Songyue stayed. Everyone knew that the most important people on this planet right now were these people. Venerable Spirit Phoenix requested for them to stay. You can kill the others, but not these people. Oh, then it seems like there's nothing. Oh, looks like there's no room for discussion then. Ling Feng, attacking the sacred universe country was my idea. If it was up to you, would you still kill me? You think I'm not? Venerable Spirit Phoenix smiled gently and looked into Star-Lord Songyue's eyes. I will find you. Don't be too anxious. Also, I need to warn you about one thing. Lord to say. To, I said. To say. I said. Spirit. I to say, I said, she said. She to Lord to say. To Lord, I said, the Lord, with a gentle wave of her hand, the projection disappeared from space. Spirit. In the hot spring, Songyue Star-Lord was about to say something, but she looked at the cut-off network and smiled bitterly. You're still talking about me. Can't you even cut off the network in your space? With that, Songyue Star-Lord sighed deeply and fell into the hot spring. Why don't you believe me? What I've said is indeed true. Star-Lord, should we send a message to White Brow and the rest to retreat? Someone asked outside the hot spring. Forget it. Songyue Star-Lord shook her head. If Spirit Phoenix wants to kill them, they won't be able to leave. Let them stay there. If they are unfortunate enough to fall, record it down and give compensation to their families. Yes. With the termination of the network, the universe energy Songyue Star-Lord had sent out also dissipated. The people outside all frowned as they looked at the Venerable Spirit Phoenix. Venerable Spirit Phoenix, can we leave now? White Brow furrowed. They hadn't heard the conversation between Sangua Star Lord and the Venerable Spirit Phoenix, so they didn't have much confidence. Most importantly, Sangua Star Lord hadn't sent him any message yet. You want to leave? The Venerable Spirit Phoenix raised her eyebrows. Unfortunately, your Star Lord didn't save your lives. What do you mean? Do you want to self-destruct or do it yourself? Choose, the Venerable Spirit Phoenix said in a low voice. You have to be quick. I'm in a hurry. You. White Brow frowned. Impossible. Our Star Lord won't abandon us. He didn't abandon you. The Venerable Spirit Phoenix didn't deny it. He told me to let you go and not care about the lives of the others. Unfortunately, I refused. I don't want you to leave alive, so, what's your choice? Instantly, a cold aura permeated the void. White Brow and the rest understood. It wasn't that the Star Lord didn't want them, but Spirit Phoenix didn't want to let them go. Venerable Spirit Phoenix, we have billions of experts here. If we self-destruct, do you think you'll survive? White Brow frowned and said, I suggest you accept our Star Lord's opinion. This way, you and I, before White Brow could finish his sentence, the Venerable Spirit Phoenix raised her palm. Just like the supremacies who had been killed earlier, the space around White Brow was instantly sliced into countless pieces. Annihilation. Boom. The space shattered. White Brow, who had been sliced by the space, disappeared from the void just like the supremacies who had died earlier. Retreat. Split up. The black-robed supremacy sent a voice transmission. The Venerable Spirit Phoenix was too terrifying. Staying here would only result in death. Do you still think you can run away from me? The Venerable Spirit Phoenix's gaze darkened, and she grabbed with her fingers. In an instant, the surrounding space was completely sealed. The supremacies and lords trapped inside were like trapped beasts in a cage. No matter how they struggled, they couldn't leave. Annihilation. Accompanied by the low voice, a black hole appeared in the sealed space and devoured the supremacies and lords inside. Run! The soldiers below began to shout in panic. Do it! Unexpectedly, the Venerable Spirit Phoenix spoke softly. Immediately after, hundreds of thousands of experts appeared out of nowhere outside the planet's periphery. The weakest of these experts was at the king level. There were even 2 supremacies. From the start to the end, the Venerable Spirit Phoenix didn't even blink. She lowered her head and looked at the massacred people below and patted Jingling's shoulder. Go and save your clansmen yourself. I need to make a trip to the Virtual World Corporation. I won't be accompanying you here. We'll meet again if fate wills it. Chapter 2788. Outer Space. Ever since the previous failure, the world-dominating country king had been in a deep state of training. He also wanted to give it a try. Before the breakthrough, if he didn't encounter a nightmare, he would break through immediately. Unfortunately, he failed. In these 4 months, he had tried many times, but every time he was about to enter the state, his soul would give him a warning. This warning was the nightmare's warning. He had a strong feeling that if he forcefully broke through, his soul would be destroyed by the nightmare. Looks like I have to win against the Milky Way Lord. Silently exhaling, the world-dominating country king recovered from his state of training. When he raised his head and looked around, he saw that the emotions of the soldiers were fluctuating. Jianan. Country king. Jianan immediately came to the world-dominating country king. What happened? Why are our people so emotional? Did the sacred universe country attack us? The world-dominating country king frowned. Not really. Jianan muttered, we lost the trial. Lost? Yes, just now, we heard the ancestral dragon tribe's message. Our crystal has been destroyed, and we have 12 hours to repair it. How can this be? The world-dominating country king frowned. Sacred universe country's sky sea has recovered? That's impossible. Even if he recovers, he can't destroy the crystal alone. Not sure. Jianan shook his head. You didn't ask us to monitor the sacred universe country's situation, so we don't know what's going on there. Let's go take a look. At this time, the world-dominating country king's thoughts were mixed. He was actually very concerned about the outcome of the trial. This was because he felt that the outcome of the trial would have a huge impact on his breakthrough to the honorable realm. His plan was to win against the Milky Way Lord during the trial. Right now, the red energy crystal had been destroyed. This had completely messed up his plan. The battleship sailed. In these few months, the world-dominating country king had replenished his forces. Riding on the interstellar battleship, it took them less than half an hour to reach the periphery of the sacred universe country's planet. Modified. As soon as he finished speaking, he received countless messages in the virtual network. It wasn't just him, Jianan was the same. Country King. Venerable Spirit Phoenix has come in person. The dominating world ruler frowned. Was the network signal in the area we were in blocked? Why didn't anyone discover it? Forget it, it's not important. The world domination ruler casually asked. From the looks of it, he didn't want to care about this matter. Venerable Lingfeng's methods are truly formidable. 4 venerables and over a dozen lords actually died in her hands. Jianan, you've received the news, right? Yes. Jianan nodded. After leaving the signal-blocked area, they received a retreat signal from the headquarters. Monarch, are we going to retreat? What do you think? The dominating world ruler frowned. Looks like my plan has to be brought forward. Boom! An intense rumbling sound resounded from outside the sacred region universe country. Enemy attack. In an instant, the sacred galaxy universe country sounded the alarm. Everyone rushed to their own combat preparation area immediately. Niumang also stepped on the void and looked into space. World-dominating ruler. Don't be afraid, the Milky Way Lord modified our planet to be a level 1 war planet. Even if he's a country lord, he won't be able to break through our outer energy defenses in a short period of time. Everyone do your jobs. Prepare the energy cannons, I'll contact the Milky Way Lord and the Saint. Your mission is simple. Before that, we have to protect the planet. Outside Nirvana Planet, the dominating world ruler made his move. He couldn't wait any longer. With the Venerable Spirit Phoenix's arrival, the headquarters definitely wouldn't be able to repair the crystal. And with the knights and country ruler dead, the others wouldn't be able to do much. Before the training ended, all he had to do was destroy the blue crystal. The huge energy wave caused Jianan to instinctively raise his arms to defend. What was surprising was that the dominating world ruler's fist actually didn't break through the outer energy barrier. He blocked it. Within Nirvana Planet, the experts from the sacred regions were all filled with joy. Level 1 War Planet Modification. The Milky Way Lord sure is generous. The dominating world ruler nodded, standing outside the barrier and not attacking. Ruler. This war planet's modification is very complete, it can defend against my attacks. The dominating world ruler's expression was calm. Then what do we do? No rush. The dominating world ruler slowly adjusted the surrounding universe energy. The war planet's outer energy seal definitely isn't impregnable. At this time, we have to maintain our composure and find its weak point. Just as his words landed, a golden long spear appeared in his hands. The tip of the spear. It slowly emitted a deep blue light. Conqueror's spear. The moment he saw the spear, Jianan's eyes sunk. This spear was the dominating world ruler's proudest weapon. God weapon level. He could still vaguely remember, for the sake of obtaining this weapon, the dominating world ruler had killed the entire expedition team, including 3 country lords. The golden spear had a shattering effect. It was perfect for breaking the energy barrier like this. Jianan. Ruler, I'm here. Remember, you will use it when you attack the war planet in the future. This is the last thing I'll teach you. The dominating world ruler slowly said. The outermost layer of the war planet's energy barrier is the strongest. The further you go, the weaker the barrier will be. Therefore, we don't need to be anxious. As long as we break the outermost layer, the rest of the barrier will be easily broken. This subordinate will remember. As for how to deal with the outermost layer, the dominating world ruler raised his golden spear. The outermost energy barrier can withstand a peak country lord's attack, but it isn't absolute. So. The dominating world ruler tapped on the barrier 4 times. The barrier was still intact, but there were golden ripples spreading outwards from his 4 points. Observe carefully. Later, you will tell me the location of the weak point. Jianan frowned and used the universe energy to investigate the situation outside the barrier. There. Suddenly, Jianan pointed to a spot on the barrier. The dominating world ruler raised his hand and threw the golden spear to him. Break it. Jianan held the spear and walked towards the spot he had found. Universe energy poured in. Bang! The energy barrier that could withstand a country lord's attack was shattered by Jianan's attack. Not bad. The dominating world ruler smiled gently. Jianan respectfully returned the spear in his hand. Unexpectedly, the dominating world ruler shook his head. I'll give it to you. As his voice fell, the dominating world ruler slowly turned around. He didn't continue to advance into nirvana. Instead, he silently stood outside the broken energy barrier and looked at the space in front of him. How much longer do you want to watch? Milky Way Overlord. Chapter 2789. Milky Way Lord. When Jianan heard the World Domination King's words, he also looked towards outer space. There was nothing in outer space. There was no trace of the Milky Way Lord. Jianan, back off. The World Domination King squinted his eyes, then punched forward with the power to shatter planets in his right hand. The berserk power seemed to tear space itself apart. When the attack reached a distance of 1/2 kilometer, an energy barrier appeared and completely nullified the World Domination King's attack. Then, a spaceship slowly appeared in outer space. An invisible spaceship? Jianan frowned. His heart was in turmoil. There was no such thing as an invisible spaceship in the human universe, but he did see one. What's more, he didn't find it even after scanning the area with his cosmic energy. How did you find it? Yi Zichen walked out of the cabin with the fully recovered Tianhai following behind him. The moment they saw Tianhai, the World Domination King and Jianan's pupils contracted. You've recovered? The World Domination King frowned. Thanks to Yi Zi, he had a time elemental fairy that accelerated my time. Actually, I was already healed when you first attacked, Tianhai nodded. You should have noticed that if I was just an injured soldier of the sacred region, I wouldn't have been able to stop you for so long. I do have my suspicions, the World Domination King nodded. The tyrannical world ruler declined to comment. It seems like I didn't lose unjustly in the previous battle. Milky Way Lord, I've learned my lesson. The World Domination King cupped his hands sincerely. There was no hint of hatred in his tone at all. Instead, it was so calm that it made one wonder if this was really him or not. It seems like you've changed a lot after losing last time. Yi Zichen said. That's right, the World Domination King nodded. The World Domination Ruler nodded. I also have to thank the Milky Way Overlord for letting me see my many shortcomings. I came to my senses in time and didn't continue. It was a huge mistake. Then now, come and destroy your energy crystal. The words of the World Domination Ruler were straightforward, and he did not beat around the bush. Destroy the crystal. That was his goal, and he couldn't be bothered to hide it. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. From the World Domination King's current state, he had indeed changed quite a bit. At the very least, his attitude had changed a lot compared to his previous arrogant and extreme attitude. You should know that you've lost. I've received the message. The Overlord World Ruler nodded. But you can't say that we've lost. We still have 12 hours. If your crystal is destroyed during this time, we'll be even. Yes, you're right. Yi Zichen didn't refute the World Domination King's word. Dominating world ruler, do you really think this is necessary? The trial didn't affect you. Now that the red team has finished, you can leave. Moreover, Tianhai is here. Do you think you have a chance? Yi Zichen couldn't be bothered to intentionally provoke the World Domination Kingdom's ruler when he handled everything in an upright manner. There was no need. What he was saying now was to move people with emotions and reason. The ones who were truly affected by the trial were Karkat and Yi Zichen, or rather, the trial participants who had placed their bets. To the ruler of the World Domination Country, it did not affect him much. He was able to come here. Then, he would most likely receive news from his headquarters. With the Spirit Phoenix present, the war between them and the Sacred Region Cosmic Country would be over. They wouldn't be able to cause much trouble. Wasn't it a good choice for him to return to his own territory? What's more, if Yi Zichen and Tianhai weren't here, he could break through Nirvana's barrier and destroy the crystal without a problem. But now Tianhai was here. The difference between a sovereign and a ruler was like the difference between heaven and earth. Ignoring the fact that the World Domination Country was a peak ruler, even if he was a sovereign, Tianhai was a peak sovereign. How could he possibly be Tianhai's match? He had no chance of winning at all. There was no need for him to be so stubborn. You should be glad that you're the one fighting this time. If you stayed in the headquarters, then you might have already died to the Spirit Phoenix, Yi Zichen said softly. Yi Zichen said softly. You admitted that you benefited greatly from the last battle. Isn't that a good thing for you? Why do you have to start another war? Are you happy to see your fellow humans die? No. The World Domination Country's ruler shook his head decisively. Every single human is a treasure of our universe. I naturally don't want them to die in battle. What's more, I didn't bring them here this time. I won't act against the Sacred Region's people either. I want to challenge Tianhai. What? With that, Yi Zichen, Tianhai, and Jianan all raised their eyebrows. Challenge? The ruler wants to challenge a sovereign? Moreover, he was an outstanding Venerable One, a peak-level Venerable One. I hope that the Sacred Region Sovereign can fulfill this tiny wish of mine, the World Domination Country's ruler said seriously. The dominating world ruler had a serious look on his face. This battle will not end here. I want a life and death battle. Ruler. Jianan panicked. The World Domination Country's ruler suddenly pulled off the spatial ring on his finger, then took off his armor and forced out a soul divine artifact from between his eyebrows. A colorful artifact floated in space. Jianan, this is yours. I can't take it. I told you to take it. The World Domination Country's ruler frowned, then placed the equipment into Jianan's hands. I promised you this, so you have to accept it. Ruler, you can wait until after this. There's no after, the World Domination Country's ruler smiled. I'm definitely going to die in this battle. Rather than letting the equipment follow me, I might as well give it to you now. Since you're going to die, then why are you obsessed? The World Domination Country's ruler patted Jianan's shoulders, then turned around and walked towards Tianhai. At this point, the World Domination Country's ruler no longer had any divine artifacts on him. He took a few steps forward with a smile and shrug. I wonder if the Sacred Region sovereigns are willing to give me this chance. You've reached the threshold. Tianhai frowned. Yes. Yi Zi is your obsession, the World Domination Country's ruler nodded. Yes. All right, I understand, Tianhai nodded. Tianhai nodded lightly. I accept your challenge. I will give it my all in this battle, and I will let you truly understand just how great the gap between a sovereign and a sovereign is. Thank you. The World Domination Country's ruler let out a sigh of relief. Obsession was right in front of him, but he knew very well that he couldn't hurt Yi Zichen with Tianhai here. Thus, he might as well not humiliate himself and directly challenge Tianhai. Some people would say that he could live on in front of the ruler. But it was different. Once one touched the threshold of the Venerable One, one's heart could no longer maintain the state of being a king. Breakthrough. Or die. There's no way out. Chapter 2790. It was just as the king of world domination had thought. There was no way out. Others might not understand him, but Tianhai could understand his decision. Sovereigns. They were extremely alluring to anyone. When you touch this threshold, you will not be able to maintain a calm state of mind and continue to be a monarch. It was the same for him back then. What's more, his obsession was not gone. Sovereigns were not broken. Struggling at death's door meant that apart from being able to keep one's life, nothing else. This was because you could no longer have any expectations for the future. You knew that being the ruler was the peak. To be honest, living like that was worse than death. Experts all had their own dignity. The more powerful a person was, the more intense their desire for a higher realm would be. They could not be like those star and star-level people, who could only muddle through their lives in virtual reality games. Or they could obtain the status of a universal citizen, and live a mediocre life. Experts would not do that. Even if they had to live in seclusion, they would definitely not give up on cultivation. They would definitely pursue higher realms. Before that, I have something to discuss with you. The king of world domination thought for a moment, then spoke. Speak. This time, the person who spoke was not Yi Zichen, but Tianhai, who understood the king of world domination better. Yi Zichen instinctively retreated to the periphery. He knew. The current situation was no longer something he could handle. He could not understand the rapport between the king of world domination and Tianhai. Those subordinates of mine. The king of world domination pointed towards the base station in the distance. I hope you can be merciful and let them live. They all have families in the universe, and they were forced to attack you. If you want revenge, I hope you can seek out Star Lord Songyue or the management of the Alliance. That won't do. Surprisingly, Tianhai actually rejected the King of World Domination's request. King of World Domination, I understand your feelings. However, regardless of whether they were forced or not, they are still the murderers of the sacred region's citizens. I am willing to let them go, but I cannot answer for the souls of those who died in battle. I'm sorry, I cannot accept your request. That's true. In the face of Tianhai's rejection, the dominating world ruler calmly nodded his head. You're right. It's my fault for speaking out of turn. Then, I would like to ask you to release my subordinate. The overlord of the world domination kingdom raised his hand and pointed at the direction of the censure. Monarch. Zhu Nan gritted his teeth. I don't need their pity. I'm willing to fight to the death with the country leader outside the sacred galaxy universe country. Nonsense. The world-dominating ruler's voice was very soft as he patted Zhu Nan's shoulder. Jianan, this isn't pity. I can sense that you have a kind nature. In fact, you are not suited to stay in the Archean Moon Galaxy. Everyone in our alliance has a mouth that eats people without spitting out the bones. With your personality, you're really not suited to survive there. These were the heartfelt words of the dominating world ruler. This was also the experience he had accumulated after so many years in the Azure Moon Alliance. In this alliance, everyone's thoughts ran deep. A person who was smiling at you a second ago could stab you in the back the next second. The upper echelons of the alliance were filled with scheming. If it weren't for Songyue's kindness, he might have left that damned place a long time ago. A saint sovereign, a Milky Way lord. The dominating world ruler turned to Yi Zichen and Tianhai. Jianan, my deputy, has followed me for thousands of years. I can swear on my soul that he has never wrongly killed anyone. In his heart, he is absolutely pure and innocent. In this war, from the moment we first attacked the sacred galaxy until now, he hasn't killed a single one of you. Furthermore, He once suggested to the sovereigns that we reduce our slaughter here and let you go. The dominating world ruler's words were forceful, and his eyes were filled with sincerity. He's only been here because of me. He's loyal to me, and no matter how I treat him, he's never thought of betraying me. Keeping someone like that alive is a good thing for the human race. I hope you can let him go. If that's true, that's fine. Tianhai nodded. Of course, if you're willing to accept him, that would be even better. He has decent management skills, and he'll be useful when the sacred galaxy cosmic nation is rebuilt. What's more, he received all of my inheritance. So long as he breaks through to the monarch level, he'll be the next me. The dominating world ruler smiled wryly. Of course, not the previous me. I'm the pure and innocent me who can tell good from bad. I'm not saying I'm that strong, but at least I'm not bad. Don't you agree, Saint Sovereign? Of course. Tianhai didn't deny it. Regardless of the dominating world ruler's character, his strength was enough to rank within the top 100,000 of the human race. 100,000. Compared to the human race's enormous population, that was already a rare ranking. So, if you want to use Jianan, just use him. I can promise you that so long as he joins you, he definitely won't betray you. That's the kind of person he is. The dominating world ruler grinned. Of course, if you suspect me, then please let him go. Don't kill him. However, I still hope that Jianan will join you. That's just my hope. That can be discussed later, said Tianhai. All right. Then I have nothing else to say. I've wasted a lot of your precious time. When a person is about to die, he becomes more talkative. The dominating world ruler grinned. Oh yes. I have one last request. When I was young, I had a wife. At that time, I hadn't reached the domain level yet. She gave birth to a daughter. If the Milky Way ruler and Saint Sovereign have the time, I hope you can help me find her. If you can find her, give her some resources. If not, it's fine too. Actually, I should have done this myself. It's just that I woke up too late. I don't have the chance. I'll try my best. Then let's do it. In an instant, the surging energy of the universe gathered towards Tianhai. Lord, let's retreat a little. Winnie and Aelin shielded Yi behind them. The dominating world ruler grinned. Saint Sovereign, here I come. Boom! The violent explosion lasted for a long time in outer space. When the flames dissipated, Tianhai was still standing at his original position. In front of him was the dominating world ruler, who looked dispirited and had his soul scattered. The dominating world ruler rested his chin on Tianhai's shoulder. Is this your full strength? Yes. Tianhai looked straight ahead. An inexplicable smile appeared on the dominating world ruler's face. Sovereign, that's great. Sovereign. Before the dominating world ruler could finish his sentence, he slid down from Tianhai's shoulder. His eyes and mouth were filled with a yearning smile. Looking at the distant outer space. Chapter 2791. Your Majesty. Jianan rushed over with bloodshot eyes and held the King of World Domination's body. The moment he touched the King of World Domination's arm, Jianan's heart turned cold. He hugged the King of World Domination tightly and stood in space. Yi, let's go back. Tianhai and Yi Zichen returned to the cabin. As they sailed towards Nirvana, they intentionally went around Jianan and the King of World Domination. The King of World Domination died? Yi Zichen frowned. Tianhai nodded. Tianhai nodded firmly. He asked me to use my full strength, and I did. As a monarch, he couldn't withstand my attacks. Why did he do that? For the sovereign. Tianhai let out a deep sigh, while a hint of regret appeared on his face. Yi, you still can't understand just how attractive a sovereign is to a king of world domination. You will understand when that day comes. He did it even though he knew he would die. Yi Zichen frowned. It can be considered a choice. Tianhai let out a long sigh, The sovereign is extremely attractive to the king of world domination. The venerable has an incomparable allure to the world domination country, but the world domination country ruler should know that his death is certain. Even so, he still chose to fight me. Perhaps he had already made up his mind. He can die, but he wants to experience just how strong the sovereign is. I'm respecting him by fulfilling his request. I have to say, no matter how vile his actions were, I respected him just now. As his voice faded, Tian Hai shrugged his shoulders and said, "Don't worry about that. Everyone makes their own choices." Back on Nirvana, Sky Sea was the first to announce the great victory of the training, and all the warriors of the Sacred Universe country were cheering. What they needed to do now was to protect the energy crystal to the very end, and wait for the announcement of the results before reclaiming their homes. In truth, Tianhai was quite anxious right now. He really wanted to immediately head to the Sacred Cosmic Nation's main planet and save Jingling. However, he wasn't sure if the invaders would do anything else in the meantime. People always had to make choices. Yi Zichen had done so much for him. Although he desperately wanted to go, he had to guarantee that Yi Zichen would win the trial before going. Moreover, he reckoned that with the venerable spirit phoenix on the main planet, there shouldn't be too much of a problem. As for Yi Zichen, he sat silently in front of a man-made river on Nirvana, lost in thought. The ruler of world domination country was dead. Even though they were enemies, Tianhai had said that the world-dominating ruler was worthy of respect after witnessing his final state. Yi Zichen wasn't talking about regret. Regardless of what the world domination ruler had become, there was no need for him to reminisce about him. Right now, he just wanted to figure out one thing. Were venerables really that important? Moreover, he still chose to make such a decision when he knew that he was going to die. It was really puzzling. "What are you thinking about?" Bai Yu walked over and sat beside Yi Zichen. "Are you thinking about the world domination king?" "You could say that. I'm more curious about what's so special about you, Venerable One." "Venerables are actually a level that surpasses the universe," Bai Yu pursed his lips. "Actually, you can tell from the names of our cultivation realms. Before the word king, there's a universe in front of it. Universe King, Universe Duke. Any realm is related to the universe. It's just that you don't have strength that surpasses the universe. However, venerables, you've broken free of the universe's restraints and reached a whole new level." "A whole new level?" Yi Zichen frowned. "That's right." Bai Yu smiled. "Look, after you break through to the venerable level, you can comprehend the great Tao of space. You can travel through the universe without being bound by the laws of the universe. I remember my father once said that once you reach the venerable level, you'll see a completely different world. It'll be far more exciting than when you were a king. I think the world domination king only made that decision because he touched the threshold of the venerable level and saw the outside world. But his decision was a decision that would lead to certain death. A peak Tianhai venerable. A peak world domination king. There was an entire realm of difference between them. He could clearly have chosen not to die, but he still chose to throw an egg at a rock. How could anyone understand such behavior? "Then let me ask you this." Bai Yu thought about it for a moment, then said softly. Bai Yu thought for a while, then said in a low voice, "If Su Yen and Xia Kiki were captured by a supreme expert, you'd have to personally go if you want to save them. With your strength, you won't have any hope even if you go. Would you go in that sort of situation?" "I would." There was no doubt about it. Even if Yi Zichen died for sure, he would still make that decision. Because if he didn't go, he wouldn't be able to feel at ease for the rest of his life. Rather than living like this, he might as well just die. "That's it," Bai Yu shrugged with a smile. "Actually, the world domination king breaking through to the venerable level is pretty much the same as the example I gave. The world domination king said that you are his obsession. If he wants to break through to the venerable level, he must get rid of it. If he doesn't get rid of it, he will never be able to step into the venerable level. If he retreats, he will regret it for the rest of his life. That's why, even if Tianhai Venerable is countless times stronger than him, he will still choose to fight him. Because your obsession is here, and he can't directly attack you, because Tianhai won't let him. Is that so? According to Bai Yu's explanation, Yi Zichen did understand a lot. But, from the perspective of a bystander, he would definitely feel pity for the world domination king. A mighty world domination king had given up on his future just like that. He had chosen to die just to catch a glimpse of the light of a venerable. To be honest, there was no benefit to dying like that. But if Yi Zichen put himself in Tianhai Venerable's shoes, he could understand Bai Yu's example. Cowering. That sort of regret was torturous. Don't think too much about it. The world domination king isn't on the same side as us. In the human race universe, countless people die every second. Even for world domination kings, dying every day isn't anything new. But this time you saw it, but you didn't. Bai Yu comforted with a smile. Bai Yu chuckled and consoled. Don't just sit here. Su Yen and the others are still waiting for you to return. The trial will end soon, so we should head towards the ancestral dragon clan. How is your interaction with Su Yen and the others? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. It's all right, they seem to accept me. When she said that, Bai Yu's face inexplicably reddened. She knew very well what her words meant. That's good, Yi Zichen nodded with a smile. Yi Zichen chuckled and nodded. At that moment, a transmission suddenly appeared in his mind. The trial is over. Congratulations to the blue team for winning. Chapter 2792. The trial was over. Yi Zichen, who was sitting in front of the stream, raised his eyebrows. It's finally over. It couldn't be said that the past few months had been torture, but for Yi Zichen, it had been thrilling. Who would have thought that he, as a general, would actually participate in a battle between sovereigns and country lords? Although Yi Zichen's progress seemed to have been smooth. In fact, if there was any mistake in any of the things he did, it would cause him to be consigned to eternal damnation. Fortunately, he'd succeeded. Yi Zichen couldn't take all the credit for himself. This victory was due to everyone's hard work and sacrifice. The Iron King. He'd clearly broken through to the country lord level, but he'd still chosen to self-destruct. And the 100,000 death-worn. They were the ones who'd done the most. Then, there was the Spirit Phoenix Lord's appearance. If she hadn't come, Yi Zichen really wasn't confident that the invaders would have attacked. And then there was Tianhai. If Tianhai hadn't been there, Yi Zichen couldn't imagine what would have happened to Yi Zichen, as the ruler of the world Hegemon Kingdom. This victory wasn't much. Everyone had to work hard. If anything went wrong, the trial wouldn't have ended so smoothly. But from Yi Zichen's perspective, the Spirit Phoenix Lord was a huge variable. Yi Zichen had planned on fighting for a full year and a half. He'd earned enough points. Her appearance had ended everything early. It was a pity that he didn't get to experience the scene of countless kings and country lords attacking the planet. Even he knew that Karkat was already making preparations. That guy was definitely no mediocre person. His way of thinking was actually very wise. For example, that camp. He must have instigated the Sacred Region's people. As for how he'd gotten in touch with them, Yi Zichen had no way of knowing. We won. Bai Yu's eyes also revealed a warm smile. Beneath this smile was a hint of dissatisfaction. She wasn't satisfied with her performance during this period of time. The way she saw it, apart from Su Yen, none of the trial takers had contributed much to this victory. No matter how Bai Yu analyzed it, her analysis was based on Yi Zichen's own analysis, or at least, he'd agreed with her. She didn't manage to say something unique. A unique viewpoint. On the other hand, Su Yen was able to see the situation clearly, and she could even use her healing abilities to heal the wounded of the Sacred Universe country. This was something no one else could do. Of course, he was merely dissatisfied. Bai wouldn't give up on himself over such a small matter. There were still many days ahead of her, and she had enough time to grow. He had matured to the point where he could hold his own, so strong that Yi Zichen could rely on her. As she thought about it, Bai couldn't help but clench her fists. She made up her mind to do even better next time. Heh! What are you doing? Yi Zichen smiled when he saw Bai clench his fist. Excited. A little. Bai smiled and nodded. He loosened his tightly clenched fists. We've been under a lot of pressure during this period of time. Once the trial ends, everyone will be able to relax a bit. That's not a good idea. Yi Zichen smiled warmly. In the future, when we go to the ancestral dragon clan, the situation might be even more dangerous than it is now. This is actually just a trial for us before we enter the ancestral dragon clan. The real trial is yet to come, so we have to be as tense as possible. Understood. Bai nodded, her gaze resolute. Yi Zichen rubbed her head when he saw her determined expression. Don't feel too much pressure. I'm here. Planet Nirvana. In the resting area of the military base, everyone received the news that the trial had ended. The Sacred Universe country warriors all felt as if a burden had been lifted from their shoulders. The trial had ended. That meant they wouldn't be attacked for a while, at the very least. Of course, this wasn't a final decision. As for what to do next, that would depend on Tianhai and the Milky Way Lord's arrangement. They all knew. The trial had ended with the Milky Way Lord's trial, while the war between the Sacred Universe countries was still ongoing. They couldn't relax in the slightest. Reclaim their homeland. That was the end of their trial. Easy. After receiving the news that the trial had ended, Tianhai had come early to wait. Tianhai Yu. As soon as Yi Zichen returned, he saw that Tianhai was ready to go. I'm preparing to go to the main planet, said Tianhai solemnly. Skycia's expression was solemn. Now that your trial here is over, I have nothing to worry about. Furthermore, the Venerable Spirit Phoenix is there, so I need to go and clean things up. You're not going to rest for a while? During this period of time, the warriors had been extremely tense. The intense pressure of battle had left them in poor shape. No rest. Tianhai's expression was solemn. It's not that I don't sympathize with them. I've thought about letting them rest, but I'm afraid. Once they let go of their tense nerves, will they be able to recover? Might as well let them stay tense for a while longer. In any case, we're not going back to the main planet to fight. The Venerable Spirit Phoenix has already taken care of everything. We just need to go and clean things up. That's fine. Yi Zichen nodded. He agreed with Tianhai's decision. It was true. After a long period of tense nerves, if they suddenly relaxed, it would be very difficult to get them tense again. Furthermore, the Venerable Spirit Phoenix had sent him a message. She'd told Tianhai to clean things up. That meant she'd already taken care of everything. Then you guys go ahead. I have to board a warship and leave for the Ancestral Dragon Clan as well. I'll leave these preparations for you. Once the people of the Milky Way galaxy arrive, they'll be stationed here as well to help you clean up the sacred region Cosmic Country. Yi Zichen smiled. Thank you. Tianhai truly didn't know what to say in response. Yi Zichen. He'd really helped him too much. Whether it was the preparations for battle or the reinforcements, Tianhai would never be able to repay Yi Zichen for the rest of his life. He wasn't afraid of adding flowers to brocade, but he was afraid of sending charcoal in snowy weather. Sending charcoal in snowy weather. He would never be able to repay this in this lifetime. We're all brothers, there's no need to be polite. Yi Zichen patted his shoulder with a smile. When I get back, I'll attend your and Jingling's wedding. Don't do it in secret before I get back. I'll wait for you. Tianhai laughed heartily. Yi Zichen laughed as well. Go. Yizi, everything is going smoothly for the Ancestral Dragon Clan. Tianhai patted Yi Zichen's shoulder, then called out to the soldiers who were already prepared. Everyone, depart. In the blink of an eye. Millions of soldiers entered their cabins, and countless ships departed from Nirvana. Yizichen stretched lazily and shrugged. Let's go as well. To the Ancestral Dragon Clan. Chapter 2793. The battleship set sail. Tianhai led his warriors to the Holy Domain Cosmic Nation's capital planet to carry out his grand reclamation. He left behind 100,000 soldiers to guard planet Nirvana. In truth, that was enough. The invaders had all been purged, and the Holy Domain Cosmic Nation no longer had any enemies. In any case, the Milky Way had made an announcement. Even if there really were thieves, they wouldn't dare act recklessly after seeing the Milky Way's announcement. This time's trial was all Star-Lord Songyue's handiwork. This was the most he could do. What else could he do? He didn't dare send any more soldiers. That was inevitable. To tell the truth, Yizichen was truly curious about the Ancestral Dragon Clan's location. But where did that energy crystal and camp come from? Yizichen couldn't understand. What was even more noteworthy was that, after the trial ended, those camps and crystals disappeared just as suddenly as they'd appeared. Where they'd come from and where they'd gone, no one knew. Seriously, this trial wasn't interesting at all. Meng Luo pouted, clearly displeased. I didn't do anything. Only the Great God and Big Sister Su Yen did. It's like we're here for nothing. Didn't you say you'd just be a salted fish? Laughed Hua Jianro. I'm just saying. Meng Luo drooped her head. Also, I thought Kiki was like me. Who would have guessed she was a golden dragon? Oh, right. Suddenly, Hua Jianro's expression froze. Our trial was broadcasted live. Those trial takers definitely know that Kiki is a golden dragon, right? That should be the case. Baiyu nodded and muttered. The trial was broadcasted live. Participants could choose what they wanted to watch. Xia Kiki, in her golden dragon form, was definitely watching. Many people knew that she was from the Dragon Clan. This time, when we head to the Ancestral Dragon Clan, those trial takers all know that Kiki is a dragon. We have to be careful. Didn't Tianhai say there's a dragon senior there? Meng Luo blinked. There might be, but there's nothing wrong with being cautious, said Su Lu. That dragon race elder might take care of Kiki, but there's one thing that I don't think is wrong. What do you guys think? Big Sister Lu go ahead. Meng Luo said. Don't you think Senior Dragon is locked there? Su Lu squinted her eyes. I don't think that Dragon Senior has a very high status there. The reason why I think this way is because of what Supremacy Tianhai just said. He said, Supremacies have to go to the Ancestral Dragon Clan to be taught. From this, I can tell that the Ancestral Dragon Clan is actually a very tyrannical and unreasonable place. The experts of the various races there are not necessarily willing to stay there, but they have no other choice. Their status is relatively low. Everyone in the cabin frowned. It seemed to make sense. There was nothing wrong with Su Lu's way of thinking. Thinking about it this way, if the experts of the Dragon Clan really had a high status, then why couldn't he leave the Ancestral Dragon Clan? Wouldn't it be better for him to teach the juniors of his tribe? If he stayed in the Ancestral Dragon Clan, how many times would he be able to see his clansmen in these tens of thousands of years? It was very possible that Su Lu was right. The seniors of the Divine Beast clans had no choice but to stay there. Furthermore, their statuses weren't all that high. Big Sister Lu's idea is quite unique. Baiyu furrowed his brows. Also, I think it's possible. Then what should we do? Meng Luo covered her mouth in astonishment. Dragons have special statuses. In human territory, many parties will pay attention to them. Baiyu furrowed his brows. Baiyu furrowed his brows, however, with the dragon race seniors present, they will at least have some deterrence. Also, Senior Tianhai said that having a dragon by the side of the Milky Way Lord isn't a problem. What's more, Kiki is Yizi's wife. Actually, once we get there, we can't let Kiki go alone. She needs someone by her side. As for the rest, Let's just wait until we get there and see how the others react. We still need to form alliances, murmured Su Yin. The first thing we need to do when we get there is confirm who our allies are. Since we're in the territory of other races, and we're all in a competitive relationship, splitting up is inevitable. If we remain independent, we'll suffer in the end. Everyone in the cabin discussed animatedly. Yi Zichen silently listened to them, watching as they expressed their opinions. His eyes lit up with a smile. This was a pretty good situation. Everyone was able to blend in. This was the feeling that a small team should have. Anyway, we'll only know when we get there. Hua Jianrou exhaled softly. Moreover, with the identity of our team, those highnesses and highnesses wouldn't dare to do anything to us. Let's not talk about anything else but the Milky Way Overlord and Fire God's daughter by you. Would they dare to stir up trouble in front of us? Yes. And my baby rabbit? Meng Luo widened her eyes. Meng Luo, who never talked about serious matters and always liked to interrupt others, once again went off topic. "Oh right, great God, have we given out our rewards yet? I'm rich." Yi Zichen shrugged, then looked at the points. The victory this time gave us 512 times the 960 points, which is 490,000 points. Among them, because our side won, we obtained 1% of the red side's draw prize pool, which is 400,000 points. Now we have 900,000 points in our hands. Ah? Gone. Meng Luo blinked. That's all. It can't be, it's just the points. Even Hua Jianrou frowned. What's the point of continuously giving us points? Didn't they say that the ancestral dragon clan's trial would give divine artifacts, heavenly artifacts, primordial divine artifacts, and so on? It might be after we go in. Bai Yu muttered. I think someone took it for himself. Hua Jianrou twitched her mouth. Yes, I took it for myself. Yi Zichen couldn't be bothered to argue. He knew that Hua Jianrou was purposely looking for trouble. These points should be very important. If there are no surprises, we should be the team with the highest points, right? The flame rat muttered. It should be. They had 512 times the original amount, and also obtained the points from the prize pool. If there were no surprises, they should be the team with the highest points. I hope the points won't disappoint me. Hua Jianrou twitched her mouth. Alright, everyone has worked hard. No matter what the points are, we'll consider it when we get to the ancestral dragon clan. During this period of time, everyone is free to do whatever you want. Cultivate, relax. It's up to you. Yi Zichen stood up with a smile. The real trial will begin when we arrive at the ancestral dragon clan. Chapter 2794. Inside the Azure Palace. The entire palace was filled with an ocean. The palace was so big that one could not see the end of it. In this ocean, a Lolita-like woman emerged from the surface of the ocean. Immediately, two handsome men appeared beside her. One of them was holding a dry towel, while the other was holding a rare fruit. How long is Justice's judgment on me? The woman's toes touched the surface of the ocean as she wiped her wet hair with the towel. 2 months. This Justice is really a headache. He's the same as Gongjing, both of them are stubborn. The woman took a deep breath as if she was scoffing at Justice's judgment. So what if you seal me up? I will still be the one to make the final judgment. Lady Zhu Ying is right. The handsome man smiled. The person in front of her was Zhu Ying. As she had colluded with evil and killed Gongjing, she was judged by justice. The result of the judgment was that she would be sealed in this palace. Her activity was also limited to this palace. All matters of the ancestral dragon tribe were managed by justice. She could only leave and continue her work when the time was up. In other words, judgment. She did not resist, nor did she refute in front of the elders. She accepted it. This kind of punishment was within her acceptable range. She could not be bothered to struggle pointlessly. If she did, she would lose face as a judge. It was good that she had been managing the ancestral dragon tribe for so long. She wanted to rest for a period of time. She would treat this period of time as a holiday for herself. Any news from the outside during this period of time? With a light tap of her finger, the ocean in the palace suddenly disappeared and turned into a luxurious palace. Zhuing sat on the throne as she wiped her hair and asked casually, "There's no special news. Not long ago, our ancestral dragon tribe welcomed the first human to enter our land. According to the elders' decision, the first human to enter the ancestral dragon tribe was given a chance to draw a prize. There were a total of 10 of them. Due to the difficulty, the highest prize they could get was a heavenly god tool. Among them, 4 of them got a monarch tool, 3 got a king tool, and 2 got a duke tool." The handsome man answered, "What about the rest?" "He got a heavenly god artifact." The man with the face of an idol whispered softly. Zhuing raised her eyebrows when she heard this. "A heavenly god tool? What's the difficulty level?" 256 times. What a silly boy. Hearing this multiple, Zhuing knew that this person must have had connections somewhere. He most likely believed Zhu Ying's words and chose people according to her instructions. "What did you smoke?" "Soul-suppressing orb." "What?" Zhu Ying, who was originally smiling, abruptly stood up from his seat. "He actually drew the soul-suppressing orb?" "Yes. His luck is really good." Currently, the human race's equipment was divided into Ancient Creation God Artifact, Creation God Artifact, Ancient Heavenly God Artifact, Heavenly God Artifact, Ancient God Artifact, Divine Artifact, Subdivine Artifact, Pseudo-Divine Artifact, Nation Artifact, King Artifact, Public Artifact, and so on. The tools with the word ancient on them were all born from the heavens and earth. It was unique. Non-ancient weapons were forged by humans and nurtured by the heavens and earth, but their attributes were much weaker than ancient weapons. Among these grades of tools, not all tools of the same grade had the same value. True Soul Pearl. It belonged to the top of the Heavenly God Artifact. Soul Divine Artifact. In the Ancestral Dragon Clan storage, there were a total of 3 soul-suppressing orbs. 2 of them had already been obtained by others in the previous trial. This was the last one. However, those who obtained the soul-suppressing orb previously also obtained it through point lottery. There was a chance of getting it, but it was very slim. Who is the person who drew the soul-suppressing orb? I want to take a look. Before Zhu Ying finished his sentence, a projection appeared in front of him. On it was Chun, and who was chasing behind Gu Momo. "The soul-suppressing orb is with that girl." Yes, the moment His Majesty obtained the soul-suppressing orb, he immediately gave it to that girl and was rejected. The man replied, "Rejected? Heavenly God Artifact? You don't want it?" "Yes." The pink-faced young man nodded. In the end, His Holiness knelt on the ground and begged bitterly, hugging the girl's leg. Only then did the girl reluctantly accept it. After that, the girl extracted her genitalia and gave it to him. Then, something very strange happened. What happened? The public artifact was broken. There was actually a Heavenly God artifact level ring inside. Huh! Zhu Ying was dumbfounded. The person who drew the soul-suppressing orb and gave it to the rest of the team. There was a Heavenly God artifact level ring inside the public artifact. This subordinate checked this person's background. After that, the pink-faced man tapped his finger lightly, and all of Chen An's information appeared in front of Zhu Ying. Zhu Ying squinted his eyes for a long time. The more he looked, the more shocked he became. There is actually such a person with such great luck in this world. There was nothing to explain. It was luck. What else could you say about someone who could stumble and pick up a divine artifact? Fortune rivaling the heavens. This person deserves special attention. He is a person who has gathered the universe's chi vein. We can cultivate him. Zhu Ying squinted his eyes. Is there anything else? How about I let you see the situation of the Milky Way Master's Disciples trial? It's already over. Over? It ended very early, the pink-faced man replied. Sovereign Spirit Phoenix participated in the trial and destroyed the trial crystal on the spot. According to the difficulty factor and the reward, Yi Zichen's team now has 900,000 points. That much? Zhuing frowned. That's right. His first trial had a difficulty factor of 8 times, and his completion rate was 100%. Since he was the second person to discover the trial, he was rewarded with a completion rate of 20%. His completion rate for the first round was 120%, and his initial points were 100. He had 960 points at the end of the first round. The difficulty factor of the second round was 512 times, and he had 490,000 points. 1% of the prize pool was 400,000. Is he the person with the highest points now? No. The pink-faced man shook his head. The person with the highest is Chernen, who you saw just now. He has 21 million points. He obtained his points from betting 10,000 on the red side and 15600 on the blue side. In the end, the blue side won, so he earned 5,600 points. The difficulty factor of 216 times gave him 21 million points. This Chernen. Zhuing frowned. We don't care about Chernen, but we can't let Yi Zichen have so many points. Has he arrived at the ancestral dragon clan yet? According to the information from the voyage, soon. Alright, go and find some people to take back his points. No matter what method you use, you must take back all of his points. Chapter 2795. In the outer space of the ancestral dragon race. After a long and tedious voyage, Yi Zichen followed the universal coordinates to the outskirts of the ancestral dragon clan. What came into view was an unbelievably large black hole. The huge black hole seemed to be devouring the surrounding cosmic energy every minute and second, but the battleships and spaceships parked outside the black hole were not affected at all. Wait, why is there a spaceship? Yi Zichen suspected that there was something wrong with his vision, so he rubbed his eyes repeatedly. Finally, he confirmed that it was indeed a spaceship. Among the tens of thousands of interstellar battleships, only that spaceship seemed out of place. Wow, what a big black hole! Meng Luo opened her mouth in surprise. Everyone else in the cabin had similar expressions. Black hole. As an expert of the universe, seeing a black hole wasn't a big deal. Such a huge black hole was truly frightening. At that moment, Su Yan noticed Yi Zichen's gaze. At first, she thought Yi Zichen was rubbing his eyes because he was surprised at the size of the black hole. She thought it was rather funny. She hadn't expected Yi Zichen to reveal such an expression. However, she quickly realized that Yi Zichen wasn't paying attention to the black hole. Frowning, she walked over and followed his gaze. What are you looking at? Hey, didn't you guys notice? There's a spaceship there, and it's the smallest manned spaceship. Yi Zichen pointed towards the spaceship. At this time, the others looked in the direction of the spaceship. Damn. It's true. Hua Jianro narrowed her eyes and muttered, looking at the craftsmanship, it seems to be an antique from 2,000 years ago. How could there be such navigation equipment here? Who's driving it? Don't tell me it's someone who's here to participate in the trial? It was unlikely. If they really were trial takers who had come here, they would all be Her Majesty or Her Highness of the 8 Great Tycoons, or some peak non-human beast race experts. These races and tycoons wouldn't be so stingy. Driving a spaceship over, wasn't that a disgrace to his hometown? Or is it the Venerable One? Xia Kiki rubbed her chin. I remember Tianhai saying that Sovereign is coming to the ancestral dragon clan as well. Everyone in the cabin was speechless. If it was a Venerable One, how poor must that Venerable One be? It would be fine if he did not buy a battleship. Getting a spaceship that was slightly more comfortable would be a piece of cake for him. There was no need to say much. Could it be that he was unwilling to part with $2 million universe dollars? Achoo! On the streets of the ancestral dragon clan, a woman with a wine gourd on her waist, wearing worn-out straw sandals, and nothing valuable on her was covering her nose as she sneezed and scratched her straw-like hair. That's strange. Why have I been sneezing for the past 2 days? Could it be that I'm sick? The appearance of a beggar attracted a lot of attention on the streets of the ancestral dragon clan. However, this woman did not have the slightest bit of shyness. There were so many people looking at her, but she still picked her ears, rubbed her butt, and even scratched it twice. The elasticity is still the same. Nodding proudly, the woman tilted her head and looked at the little girl behind her. Disciple, master seems to be sick. He keeps sneezing. Can you give me some money to see a doctor? Pooey. 10 meters behind the woman was a little porcelain doll girl who spat on the ground. Do you want money to see a doctor, or do you want money to gamble? See a doctor, I sneezed. The woman replied. That's not an illness. That's what people keep talking about. The little girl pouted. Is that so? The woman raised her head proudly. That's right. Your master also has a beauty that can make the moon and flowers blush, a perfect woman that can captivate even the birds and beasts. The places that should be big are big, and the places that should be perky are perky. There are indeed countless people who are infatuated with me. Have some shame. The little girl's face instantly turned black. I'm talking about that lousy spaceship of yours. When we came, everyone came in a big battleship. Only you drove a lousy spaceship. How embarrassing. How dare you talk about master? The woman glared and walked forward. What do you mean by lousy spaceship? Didn't we drive a big battleship previously? Didn't we lose in the middle? This wasn't an emergency. Can you blame me? You still have the cheek to say that? You've lost all my red packet money. The little girl pouted. Moreover, you were the one who insisted on gambling with others. If you didn't go, would we have lost everything? It's just some broken money. Look at how stingy you are. When master goes out, I'll go to the novice village's mystic realm and casually make a few rounds. Your red packet money will be back. The woman had a look of disdain. Moreover, do you think I'm willing to take your red packet money? Didn't I lose so much that I even gave my underwear to others? Don't say any more. The little girl covered her face. What are you afraid of? What's there to be embarrassed about? Little disciple, you have to learn from master. Don't care about what others think. Life is short. Just enjoy yourself. Why should you be restricted by those rules? The woman's expression was calm. She grabbed the big wine gourd and took a sip. You're still too young. If you keep doing this, how can you learn my true skills? I don't want to learn either. The little girl pouted. If it wasn't for my father forcing me to come, I wouldn't have come. Hearing the little girl's words, the woman who poured wine pursed her lips, raised her hand, and nodded. You have no conscience, do you? I wonder who was the one who cried and begged to go with me. You were cool at that time. The little girl frowned. Think about how cool you were at that time. You dressed so handsomely. Course, I liked you after seeing you. But look at you now. Your hair hasn't been washed for months. And look at what you're wearing now. You stole it from the nearby Life Star before coming here. I'm cool now too. The woman glared at her. I lost all my money because my luck wasn't good. Wait for me to turn the tables, then you'll be cool again. You little girl, you're a little snobbish. Shameful. The little girl looked like she was about to cry. Hey, it won't be long. Do you still have red packet money? Lend it to master. When I turn the tables, I'll pay you back 10 times. No. Don't be so stingy. Lend it to me, it's not like I won't pay you back. I don't have it. The little girl covered her ears. Don't ask me for money. Mom, I want to go home. As soon as she finished, the little girl ran out in her straw sandals. The woman holding the gourd sighed inwardly when she saw this scene. Seems like I really don't have money. What should I do? I have to find a way to turn the tables. While she was mumbling to herself, she suddenly grinned. raising her brows at the old man who was peddling nearby. "Grandpa, do you want my original underwear? It's cheap. Just buy one. Let me tell you a secret. I have a body fragrance." Chapter 2796. Are there really sovereigns in the universe that have such a difficult life? Everyone in the cabin couldn't help but have a huge question mark appear in their minds. Everyone couldn't help but think about their living conditions and cultivation levels. They didn't mention Yi Zichen and company. Since their identities were special, the treatment they received was naturally different as well. Winnie had a master who was like a father to her. He treated her as if she was his own daughter. The only one who relied on herself was Aylin. He silently looked at the Universe Union Bank savings, then slowly shook his head in front of everyone. "Are you that poor as well?" Meng Luo blinked in shock. "You're a Duke-level expert as well. You can explore the novice village's secret realm as you wish, right? You don't have to be so pitiful, right?" Aylin remained silent and continued to shake his head. "Oh, so you're saying that you're not that poor?" Only then did Aylin nod. He took a look at his bank account, and saw that it was also a 9-digit amount of universe credit. It wasn't really possible to buy a good warship, but a top-notch spaceship wasn't a problem. Everyone understood. They looked towards the antique spaceship, and couldn't help but silently mourn for the sovereign senior. It's too difficult. As a venerable senior, he was only allowed to use such a small flying ship? What was his life like? Was he under a lot of pressure? Or did he have to take care of an entire clan, and couldn't afford to waste money on those extravagant spaceships and warships? That shouldn't be the case, right? Even if he was a king-level expert, it would be very easy for him to obtain funds. There were many secret realms in the human universe, and many of them were novice-level secret realms. In other words, even titled-level experts could freely explore them without too much danger. There would always be many weapons, armors and support equipment in the secret realms. These equipment could be sold for quite a bit of money. Even if he did have a clan behind him, it shouldn't be so difficult. What's more, a clan that could give birth to a sovereign-level expert couldn't possibly have too many gaps in strength. Even if a king-level expert didn't have one, they still had king-level experts. They couldn't rely on the hard work of a sovereign-level expert. What's more, if a sovereign-level expert truly felt that his clan's burden was too heavy, he could join any major corporation or first-tier or second-tier family, and they would be able to provide clan support for the sovereign-level expert. Sovereign-level. Their status in the human race was quite high. Even giant groups would pay a lot of attention to him and try their best to satisfy his need. This was the status and treatment a powerhouse deserved in the universe. Don't think about it. Let's just go in. Perhaps this venerable one is frugal. Besides, we're only guessing now, so it's not certain that the one driving the spaceship is a venerable one. Bai Yu let out a light sigh. Perhaps it's Her Majesty and Her Highness. No matter what, these words were hard to believe. In other words, Karkat, who already had the highest position in the organization, was also provided with interstellar battleships by the organization. Was there any prince who was worse off than him? The possibility of it being a venerable was quite high. Little did they know, as Yi Zichen and Yi Zichen discussed the matter, a woman with hair like straw and a large gourd hanging from her waist was staring at the gambling table with bloodshot eyes. "I bet. Achoo!" She sneezed. She only had 500 universe credits in her hands, and she dropped them on the table. Small. In an instant, the woman's face was filled with terror. "Can I change my mind?" "You can't. Big bro, give me some face. I want to bet big. These 500 universe credits are all of my savings. I even exchanged my original underwear for it." The woman cried. "You can't." The dealer ignored the woman's cries. 5 big. The woman fell off the table and sat on the floor when she saw the result. "My money." "That's strange, we've already been in the outskirts of the ancestral dragon clan for a while, right? Why hasn't anyone come to pick us up yet?" Hua Jianrou looked outside with a frown. Before I came, my father said that someone would come to pick us up. Are we really that unwelcomed? Yi Zichen estimated the time. Their spaceship had already been in the ancestral dragon clan's outer space for half an hour. Since there was a black hole in front of them, they didn't dare to advance recklessly. What's more, the universe coordinates on the mail were here. There might be a lot of people, so they're settling us down, Baiyu comforted softly. Baiyu softly consoled, according to the time, we should be the last batch of people to arrive here. That's because we encountered a trial in the middle of the trial, and the other trial participants were able to watch the results while heading towards the ancestral dragon clan. I get angry when you mention this. For some reason, Hua Jianrou suddenly frowned. Now that I think about it, our trial is like an after-dinner program. They won't be bored during the voyage, and can just watch our livestream. Oh yeah, Meng Luo blinked. In that case, the ancestral dragon clan should give us a copyright fee. Give what? Do you think they'll give us that? Hua Jianrou twitched her mouth. I didn't pay much attention to it before, but now that I think about it, it's like we were played. Then, we waited here for half an hour, but they didn't send anyone to pick us up. Are they doing this on purpose? Actually, it's not impossible, Yi Zichen muttered. I guess so. Hua Jianrou raised her eyebrows. Hua Jianrou raised her eyebrows and said, I think so too. You are too hated in the universe. The previous trial looked like it was done behind the scenes. Will we be harmed if we follow you to the ancestral dragon tribe? Don't say it so bluntly, okay? Yi Zichen's expression darkened. He admitted that he was hated, but saying it out loud was too embarrassing. Hey look, it seems like someone's coming to pick us up. At that moment, Meng Luo pointed outside the cabin. It was an interstellar warship sailing over from the direction of the black hole. From the coordinates and route, it seemed to be heading towards them. Approximately a few minutes later, the warship stopped outside Yi Zichen's ship. The cabin door opened and an idle youth walked out. Please state your identity. The youth frowned. Yi Zichen nodded towards Winnie. This is the warship of the Milky Way Lord. This is the battleship of the Milky Way Overlord. We are here to participate in the Ancestral Dragon Tribe's trial as representatives of the Virtual World Corporation. Please leave the cabin. The Ancestral Dragon Clan will carry you for the rest of the journey. Sure. The cabin door opened, and Yi Zichen and company walked out. What should we do with our warship? Winnie asked. Don't worry, the Ancestral Dragon Clan will arrange the warship for you. Now, please board the ship and head towards the Ancestral Dragon Clan. Chapter 2797. The warship sailed. As soon as he stepped into the cabin, the handsome young man who'd come to greet Yi Zichen and the others placed his right hand over his heart and bowed deeply to Yi Zichen. Sovereign's Milky Way Lord. Your Holiness Yi Zichen of the Virtual World Corporation. I, Zhu Yunshi, represent all of the Ancestral Dragon Clan to extend my sincerest welcome to you. Zhu Yunshi bowed deeply and spoke sincerely. His back was bent at a 90-degree angle. Hello. Yi Zichen nodded in return. Your Holiness Yi, did you encounter any problems on the way here? Zhu Yunshi snapped his fingers. Instantly, several people appeared in the cabin. Winnie and Alan raised their eyebrows. The moment they entered the cabin, they had scanned it with their cosmic energy. In their search, they did not discover anyone. It was as if these people had appeared out of thin air, causing them to frown. They seemed to be attendants. They were all holding delicacies, wine, and fruits in their hands. After putting them down, they suddenly left. During this time, Winnie and Alan had locked onto them with their cosmic energy. They had observed their every move in order to prevent anything unexpected from happening. For example, if these people suddenly attacked Yi Zichen. Fortunately, they didn't. However, what surprised Winnie and Alan was that even though they had been locked on to their movements the whole time, the energy imprints on them disappeared after they retreated. It was as if they had never appeared in the first place. Zhu Yunshi looked up at Winnie and Alan, then gestured for Yizichin to sit. Yizichin sat down on the opposite side of the table. Zhu Yunshi also sat down, then nodded towards Meng Luo and company. Everyone, feel free to do as you please. Just treat this as your own worship. There is no need for any restrictions. You are all honored guests of the ancestral dragon clan, so we will do our best to satisfy all of your requests. With that, Zhu Yunshi raised his cup with a smile. Once again, welcome your holiness Yi to our ancestral dragon clan. You're too polite, Lord. Just as Yi Zichen was about to raise his cup, Winnie subconsciously raised her hand to stop him. What is it? Yi Zichen put down the cup in confusion. Winnie reached out and grabbed the cup, then used universal energy to analyze the wine several times. Is this beautiful lady Lord Yiqingyu's guard? You're quite responsible. Zhu Yunshi smiled and looked at Winnie. May I know how to address this beautiful lady? Winnie. Oh, Winnie, you're Chicano's student, right? Zhu Yunshi seemed to be very familiar with the matters of the universe. Looks like Venerable Chicano has indeed joined the Milky Way galaxy, and he is very approving of His Majesty Yi. This time, the ancestral dragon clan actually let his most precious student be your guard. Yi Zichen did not reply. He merely looked up at Winnie. Winnie did not let go of his hand. After about half a minute, she nodded slightly. It seems like Miss Winnie's examination is over? Actually, there's no need to be so cautious. Lord Yi Qingyu is a distinguished guest of our ancestral dragon clan. If anything happens to him, then our ancestral dragon clan will not be able to bear the consequences. Everyone knows that Milky Way Lord Yi Zichen is the favorite disciple of the Milky Way Master. He also has a close relationship with the head of the Virtual Realm Corporation, Winnie, and the head of the Universe Union Bank, Blue Emperor. We, the ancestral dragon clan, will definitely prepare things like the examination beforehand. Otherwise, even if we are the ancestral dragon clan, we might not be able to endure the wrath of those two powerhouses. Zhu Yunshi's words were very gentle and gentlemanly. He maintained a warm smile the entire time. Yi Zichen also raised his cup with a shrug. Sire, please don't mind. They're just rather cautious. Caution isn't a bad thing, Zhu Yunshi nodded in understanding. Caution is the #1 requirement if you want to live long in the human universe. However, I have to remind Lord Yi Qingyu. Oh, for what? Try not to do that when you're inside the ancestral dragon clan. We can definitely guarantee your safety, Zhu Yunshi said seriously. Zhu Yunshi said sternly, if you keep doing this, the seniors will think that you don't trust our ancestral dragon clan. You might not know this, but our ancestral dragon clan doesn't like outsiders coming here. The reason why we opened the gates of the ancestral dragon clan is because of the 8 great leaders. The arrival of lords and highnesses like you, as well as the other members of the trial team, is actually a huge blow to our clan. We endured all of that in order to let you guys come. If you still doubt us, then it will make our people sad. Is that so? I'll try my best. Yi Zichen raised his cup and took a sip of the purplish-red wine. The moment the wine entered his mouth, Yi Zichen couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. The wine contained a very dense amount of cosmic energy. Furthermore, the cosmic energy was extremely pure. It was as pure as the result of someone absorbing and purifying it multiple times. We, the ancestral dragon clan, know that you are an earthling. There is a type of wine on Earth called grape wine, and we, the ancestral dragon clan, also produce grape. The wine you drank just now was watered with heavenly spring holy water. Grapes that take 3,000 years to ripen are fermented. This kind of wine contains very pure cosmic energy. It is very effective for cultivation and recovering from old injuries. Actually, it's not an exaggeration to say that the sip you took just now, if calculated according to universe credits, is worth 2 million universe credits. Normally, we wouldn't bear to drink it. Only when we receive esteemed guests like you will we take out this wine to serve you. As a receptionist, I can only taste a cup because of you. Zhu Yunshi raised his cup and downed the wine. Then, he put down his cup and looked at Yi Zichen with a smile. It's not cheap. Yi Zichen also finished his cup. Yi Zichen also finished the wine in his cup. If Lord Zhu Yunshi likes it, then you can have the rest of the wine. I don't really like drinking. How could I? Zhu Yunshi declined. It's nothing. Yi Zichen shrugged, then pushed the wine in front of Zhu Yunshi. Zhu Yunshi hesitated for a moment, then silently accepted the wine. Then I thank the Milky Way Lord. You're too polite. Yi Zichen did not say anything else in response to Zhu Yunshi's gratitude. Then, he tasted the other fruits on the table. From the taste of the fruits, he could tell that they were very similar to the fruits on Earth. These fruits were also grown according to the fruits on your Earth. It's no different from the fruits on your parents' Earth. I can feel it, Yi Zichen shrugged. Yi Zichen shrugged. These fruits are just normal fruits and they look like they were just planted. Then I have a question. Please. Did you send people to Earth? Chapter 2798. The moment Yi Zichen said that, Zhu Yunshi could clearly feel the coldness in Yi Zichen's eyes. Earth. Earth. Ever since Yi Zichen sat down, Zhu Yunshi had already mentioned the word Earth multiple times. Earth's wine. Earth's fruits. Let's say that the wine was something they found on the Universal Network, and they happened to be able to make it, so they took it out. Then, what about the fruits? Apples, bananas, strawberries. Yi Zichen had never seen any of these fruits in other galaxies. There might be similar fruits, but the taste and the energy contained within them were completely different from those on Earth. Yet, the fruits of the ancestral dragon clan, it was as if they were taken from Earth. There was no difference at all. How did they do it? Went to Earth. The Milky Way was Yi Zichen's route, and Earth was a reverse scale that he was not allowed to touch. Zhu Yunshi looked at Yi Zichen for a long time, then smiled. Your Holiness Yi, you're overthinking it. Is that so? Yi Zichen squinted his eyes, and said in a rather unfriendly tone. Then tell me, how did you get these fruits? Grow them. Zhu Yunshi's answer was very certain. Your Holiness Yi, please believe in one thing. Nothing in the Milky Way is unique. Since it was able to grow in your place, then it can naturally grow here as well. We, the ancestral dragon clan, have everything in the universe. You can treat us as a specimen bank. Any kind of vegetation or rock specimen can be found here, including the fruits on your Earth. We only need these specimens to grow them. There is no need for us to personally go to your homeland, Earth. I'm doing this so that you can feel like you've returned home. If my actions have caused you to misunderstand, I hereby apologize to you. Zhu Yunshi stood up once again and bowed towards Yi Zichen. Then, he sat back down with a smile. What's more, Your Holiness Yi, please think about how long it will take for you to get here from the Milky Way. Can we make it back and forth in such a short period of time? What's more, you might not want to hear it. You haven't reached the point where we, the ancestral dragon clan, need to flatter you like this. In order to satisfy your taste buds, we specially went to your homeland. Yi Zichen remained silent when Zhu Yunshi finished speaking. Yi Zichen was very dissatisfied with his answer. Extremely dissatisfied. His explanation just now was completely wrong. Yi Zichen had been chosen to come to the ancestral dragon clan more than 10 years ago. He shouldn't have used Yi Zichen's departure time as a comparison. Also, the ancestral dragon race was omnipotent, who knew how long it would take for them to reach the Milky Way galaxy. Perhaps they could go back and forth within a day. At that moment, Yi Zichen seriously suspected that they had been to Earth before, but they were just pretending to be unwilling to tell the truth. Then, are they related to Xia Kik's illness? These fellows seem to be very close to Star-Lord Sangyu. Unfortunately, Yi Zichen couldn't do anything. Even though this Zhu Yunshi seemed to be fawning over him, Winnie had already sent him a voice transmission. This person's strength was at least at the country king level. Winnie and Aelin were dukes, and they were much weaker than a king. Most importantly, this was the ancestral dragon clan's territory. Yizichin couldn't afford to make things difficult for them. There was no other way. Even if he had doubts in his heart, he could only hide it in his heart. I see. Yizichin forced a warm smile. Then I'm sorry, I was overthinking things. Lord Yi, there is no need to apologize. Zhu Yunshi was still as understanding as ever. Your Excellency Zhu Yunshi, from what you just said, the ancestral dragon clan seems to be a very mysterious clan. You actually possess everything in the universe. Just what kind of clan are you? Also, from what you just said, you seem to understand the universe quite well. For example, Winnie. You could tell right off the bat that she was Chicano's student. Asked Yizichin. Ha! Zhu Yunshi laughed inexplicably. Your Majesty Yi, are you trying to get information out of me? It's not that serious, said Yizichin. If you want to tell me, then tell me. If you don't, I won't make things difficult for you. No matter what, you're still a venerable, and the strongest among us are only 2 dukes. Your Majesty Yi. Zhu Yunshi smiled and shook his head, as if to say, You're not being honest. Although he didn't say it out loud, Yizichin could see it clearly from his gaze. That was exactly what he was thinking. Before long, he retracted his gaze and shrugged. Actually, there's nothing I can't say. Lord Yi, you will understand when you enter our ancestral dragon clan. The ancestral dragon clan is actually the beginning of the universe. The beginning? Yizichin frowned. That's right, the universe evolved. At the very beginning, the universe wasn't as large as it is today. Back then, the universe only had us, the ancestral dragon clan, as a black hole. Zhu Yunshi pointed at the black hole outside. Zhu Yunshi pointed at the black hole outside. We will enter the black hole later. That is where our ancestral dragon clan live. As for the starting ground, it's also the place where the first humans were active. After that, other planets with life, stars, planets with resources and resources were born. Yizichin raised his eyebrows. This was a new theory, but he wasn't surprised. He had never thought that the human universe would be this large from the very beginning. Nurture and destruction must be eternal and unchanging. Even now, weren't there still planets being born out of it? You are the progenitors of the human race. No, no, no. Lord Yi, please don't say that. Zhu Yunshi hurriedly shook his head. The birth of the human race has nothing to do with us. It was the birth of your planet's children. As for how they were born, I'm not too sure either. Then what is this starting ground for? If the birth of the human race had nothing to do with the ancestral dragon clan, then what was the point of this starting ground? Was it just a place where life was born? Yizichin didn't think it was that simple. The ancestral dragon clan must have been given some sort of blame, otherwise, they wouldn't have so many incomprehensible abilities and behaviors. For example, the camp from before. Even the Virtual World Corporation couldn't level up the camp with points and produce a fixed number of experts every day. If anyone in the human race could do something like that, then the entire universe would have to listen to them. Checks and balances. Zhu Yunshi smiled. We, the ancestral dragon clan, exist to manage the human race. We are the managers. Chapter 2799. The Manager of the Human Race. Hearing Zhu Yunshi's words, even Meng Luo and the others who were gorging themselves came over. Of course, none of them got too close. He stood at the periphery and pricked up his ears to listen. Bai Yu, did you hear that? Hua Jianrou frowned. Just now, he said that the ancestral dragon tribe is the manager of the human race. How come I didn't know about this? My father never told me about it. One had to know. Hua Jianrou's clan had paragons and overlords. His father was a peak overlord among overlords, just like Lion Hong's father, the heavenly lion overlord. He knew almost everything in the universe. However, she had never heard her father mention that the ancestral dragon clan was a manager. Before he came, he had asked many questions about the ancestral dragon clan. Her father had actually told her quite a lot, but this was never mentioned. I heard it. You slightly nodded, however. This is the first time I've heard of such a thing. Hey, if the ancestral dragon clan is the manager, then isn't it the same as our Earth's? Before Xia Kiki could finish, Su Yan suddenly covered her mouth. Xia Kiki looked at Su Yan in shock. Then, she saw Su Yan's serious expression. Her expression was a warning. I can't say it. Su Yan knew what Xia Kiki wanted the moment she opened her mouth. The land of laws. Back on Earth, the divine planet, the immortal planet. Back then, they didn't even know the vastness of the human universe. Yi Zichen hadn't even transcended. He was still at the so-called domain level. They had come into contact with a powerful force. This was the master of the laws. The masters of the laws controlled the laws of heaven and earth, and they could control and manage the human race. When Zhu Yunshi mentioned that the ancestral dragon clan was the manager, the first thing that came to her mind was the land of laws. However, this was not something that could be said carelessly. After entering the universe, Su Yan noticed that there were many things in the Milky Way that couldn't be accepted in the universe, or rather, they were special. For example, elemental control. Earth's experts, even if they were at the immortal realm, were able to control the 5 elements Great Tao and thus control the elemental laws. They could comprehend time, space, destruction, life, but in the universe, the laws of space could only be grasped by supremacies. He had never even heard of the law of time. Elemental mastery required warrior level and above. Furthermore, the Milky Way galaxy had the celestial race and the mythological beast race, but in the universe, the mythological beast race couldn't move around freely, so their numbers were very small. The Protoss needed to be captured and exterminated. Simply put, the Milky Way was like a miniature version of the universe. Everything that the universe had, the Milky Way had. The universe does not have, the Milky Way has. What the universe could do, what the Milky Way galaxy could do, what the human race couldn't do, or what required extremely high strength, the Milky Way galaxy could do. Now, the ancestral dragon clan had merged with the land of law. Su Yan felt as if she had discovered a serious problem. Just now, Xia Kiki wanted to say the land of laws. Su Yan definitely couldn't let her speak. If she did, the Milky Way galaxy might suffer a calamity. Hey Kiki, what do you want to say? Meng Luo frowned in confusion. Even Zhu Yunshi, who was sitting in front of Yi Zichen, looked over. I wanted to say, isn't it similar to the managers in games, managing the players in the game? Xia Kiki grinned. That's all you want to say? Meng Luo blinked. What's there to cover your mouth about? Just say it. But Kiki, your example is pretty vivid. It really does seem like it. I'm giving her candy. Su Yan also smiled and opened the candy in her hand. Su Yan also smiled and spread out the candy in her hand. I originally wanted to scare her a bit. Is that so? Meng Luo smiled, then looked at the candy in Su Yan's hand. Is this candy delicious? Why don't I see it? I brought this from Earth. It's strawberry flavored. If you want to eat it, you can have it. Su Yan smiled. Sure. Meng Luo once again changed the topic perfectly. Zhu Yunshi looked at the candy for a while, then looked away. What he didn't know was that Yi Zichen also let out a sigh of relief. It was all thanks to Su Yan's quick hands. It could be said that Su Yan, Xia Kiki, and Yi Zichen were very close friends. Xia Kiki opened her mouth, but Yi Zichen knew what she wanted to say. The land of laws. Is this the time to talk about this? If I do, then I definitely won't get anything good out of it. It seems like I'll have to wait until there are no ancestral dragon spies around to properly explain to Xia Kiki what I can and can't say. Yi Zichen relaxed and raised his eyebrows. Managing the human race? How does the ancestral dragon clan manage the human race? Yi Zichen's tone was calm, as if nothing had happened. However, Zhu Yunshi glanced at Xia Kiki from time to time. Yi Zichen had no idea what he was thinking. After a long while, he finally replied with a smile. It's just that we manage certain actions of the human race. When Lord Yi enters the ancestral dragon clan, you will understand that the composition of the ancestral dragon clan is actually very strange. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. We, the ancestral dragon clan, have the adjudicator, balance, justice, fairness, evil, kindness, and many others. They also represent the personalities of the human race, Zhu Yunshi explained with a smile. They will judge certain humans, but they are actually more in charge of the internal affairs of the ancestral dragon clan. This is because the master of the Milky Way, who is also your teacher, came to our clan several 100,000 years ago. Back then, he felt that the ancestral dragon clan's management of the human race was hindering the development of the human race, so he made an agreement with us. What agreement? A duel. Zhu Yunshi replied. The master of the Milky Way challenged the strongest person in our clan, the adjudicator. If he won, then we will give up on managing the human race. If he lost, then he will stay in the ancestral dragon clan for the rest of his life and serve us. You guys agreed? No, but the adjudicator agreed, Zhu Yunshi shrugged. Zhu Yunshi shrugged and said, Judgment is the decision maker. She promised our ancestral dragon race, and we can't change her mind. In the end, the adjudicator still fought the master of the Milky Way and lost. From then on, the adjudicator never allowed anyone to interfere with the human race's matters. I didn't expect such a thing to happen. Anyway, after Lord Yi enters the ancestral dragon clan, you can head to the Elder Cabinet to understand more. I won't explain it one by one here. Zhu Yunshi shrugged. Then what does the void lineage mean? This. Because we live in the black hole. Zhu Yunshi pointed at the black hole outside. Inside the black hole is the void, which is different from the human race. That's why you humans also call us the void lineage. Speaking of which, we are about to go in too. Everyone, please get ready. There will be a temporary energy barrier later. You won't be able to see the light. Maybe your bodies will stand in certain situations, but these are all normal. Please don't worry too much. Alright, we are about to enter the black hole. Chapter 2800. The huge black hole devoured all the light. All of a sudden, the entire cabin became completely dark. The endless darkness was like a nightmare that enveloped Yi Zichen's heart. The most important thing was the energy barrier. You were unable to use the power of the universe to investigate your surroundings in this pitch-black environment. All you got was darkness. There was no light at all. There was nothing you could do in this sort of situation, even if someone wanted to kill you. Can you guys hear me? Yi Zichen remained in his original position and shouted towards the surroundings. No one replied. The darkness had already lasted for over 3 minutes. At the very least, Yi Zichen counted to 180 in his heart. According to the speed of the warship, 3 minutes was already enough to cover the distance of a small solar system. However, the darkness continued, and the light had yet to arrive. Bailey, can you feel my consciousness? Yi Zichen tried to communicate with Bailey, but all he got in return was a long silence. At that very moment, Yi Zichen suddenly felt someone hug his waist. He elbowed Bailey out of reflex, then hurriedly left, knocking over the table in front of him. Alright, we've already. The moment Yi Zichen stood up, light filled the cabin once again. Zhu Yunshi was still sitting in his original seat and looked at the mess in the cabin. Guys, what are you guys doing? Yi Zichen could clearly see the undisguised ridicule in his eyes. At that moment, Yi Zichen's body was covered in spilled fruit juice. Winnie and Alan were holding each other's arms. Su Yan and Xia Kiki were hugging each other. Su Luer was holding Hua Jianrou's arm, while Baiyu was stepping on the flame rat. Under Yi Zichen's seat was Meng Luo, who looked like she was about to cry. Great deity, why did you hit me? Meng Luo cried. Yi Zichen quickly ran over to help her up, while the others also let go of each other. Why did you come to my place? Yi Zichen did not hold back when he thought back to the elbow strike. I'm scared. Meng Luo looked like she was about to cry. There seemed to be a lot of people fighting over there. I don't know what happened, so I just followed the route in my memory. I wanted you to protect me. I finally managed to hug you, but you still hit me? I'm sorry. Yi Zichen smiled wryly. Susu, show Meng Luo. Lord Yi, your people are too cautious. Zhu Yunshi laughed bitterly. Didn't I say it very clearly just now? There's an energy barrier, and there's no light. As long as everyone stays where they are, there won't be any problems. Why are you so alert? Could it be that our ancestral dragon race can kill you? And this table, these are all very valuable things. Lord Yi, you're a Milky Way lord after all. Don't you have this little bit of courage? You're so scared of this little darkness? Stop making sarcastic remarks. What was surprising was that just as he finished speaking, Baiyu creased his brows and walked over. Do you think we're funny? Energy shield, no light. Do you really think that we don't know anything? Do you think that we are all ordinary people? Baiyu walked in front of Zhu Yunshi and squinted his eyes. You're purposely doing this to make us panic internally. Do you think it's fun to watch us make a fool of ourselves? I don't know what this lady is talking about. Do you know who I am? Baiyu raised his eyebrows. How about I introduce our team to you? I'm Baiyu, and Fire God is my father. My father has stayed here for 2,000 years, and traveled through time several 100 million times. This is the daughter of the Flower Emperor, that is the son of Sacred Fire, and the princess of the Spirit Rabbit race. So it's actually Fire God's woman. My apologies. I heard that your father became a supreme being, right? Yes. The son of a supreme being truly has a temper. What do you want to say to me now? Zhu Yunshi's gaze darkened. You want to say that your father stayed with the ancestral dragon race, and went through black hole travel before, so he knows the situation? Then what did your father say? Black hole travel will make his energy barrier lose its light. What are you still doing here? But how much time do you need? Baiyu looked at him with a frown. You purposely stopped the warship within the black hole's range, and only let it sail out after Yi Zichen flipped the table. Yet you happily watched us all make a fool of ourselves. You stopped the warship. Meng Luo, who was still being healed by Su Yan, stood up and pointed at Zhu Yunshi angrily. No wonder. This lady always flew around the black hole outside my house to play. I've never been in the black hole for so long. I thought it was because the black hole here is bigger. Grandson, you're so bad. Who are you talking about? Zhu Yunshi frowned. What did you just say? I'm talking about you, grandson. What about it? Meng Luo's eyes were filled with rage. I'm talking about you. Zhu Yunshi, grandson, what do you want? Try and touch me. I'll give you 8 guts. Do you dare to touch me? Everyone else in the cabin was stunned by what they saw. What's going on? They got into a fight? What's more, it was the gentle Baiyu who started it, while the lively Meng Luo helped. You! Zhu Yunshi frowned. At that moment, Baiyu suddenly reached out his hand. Give it back. All of a sudden, everyone's expression froze. He lost something? No wonder Baiyu was so angry. Could Zhu Yunshi have taken her treasure in the black hole? The fire god doted on his daughter a lot. Apparently, all of her equipment was something that even sovereigns couldn't afford to wear. Every single one of them was priceless. Fire god's woman, don't go too far. Zhu Yunshi's gaze darkened. No matter what, I am the ruler of a country. What do you think I would take from you juniors? Are we normal juniors? Baiyu frowned. Give it back. Lil Bai, what did you lose? Hua Jianro frowned. The people of the ancestral dragon clan actually dared to steal. Tell your dad, I'll tell my dad. We have to get even with them. I didn't lose it. Baiyu shook his head. Hua Jianro, who was about to cause trouble, was stunned. Yi Zi lost it. What did I lose? Yi Zichen was confused. The ancestral dragon clan told him not to bring anything, so he didn't bring anything. He didn't even have a card on him. What did I take from the Milky Way, Lord? Zhu Yunshi frowned. Bai Yu looked up at him arrogantly. Hurry up and take it out. Don't force me to slap you. No matter what, you are a ruler. It's rather embarrassing to be slapped. I'll give you 3 seconds. Don't force me. Chapter 28:01. I'll slap you with my mouth wide open. It's rather interesting when I think about it. Earlier, Bai Yu and company all said that Yi Zichen was too tough. They mocked the world domination country's ruler. They weren't afraid of the world domination country making a move on him. Now, the true hero among women was Bai Yu, who couldn't pass on this responsibility. No matter how much Yi Zichen slandered the world domination country. At the very least, he didn't say that he was going to slap her. What's more, he maintained a safe distance to ensure that he wouldn't be crushed by the world domination country's ruler. He had good control over the distance. Then he looked at Bai Yu. She was so close to Zhu Yunshi's face, and she was really going to slap her. Hurry up. Bai Yu pointed at Zhu Yunshi with a frown. From her expression, Yi Zichen could tell that she was no longer threatening. She was really going to slap him. But Yi Zichen was truly confused. Just what did I lose? Bai Yu. Yi Zichen snuck up and muttered. Just what did I lose? I didn't bring anything. Take a good look. Bai Yu looked down. Yi Zichen pondered for a moment. Then, he touched his chest. The points the ancestral dragon clan gave him after the trial ended. These points were recorded using an elite gemstone. According to the person who transmitted his voice, this gemstone was used to record the ancestral dragon clan's points. It could be used within the ancestral dragon clan. Could Zhu Yunshi have stolen this? After touching it for a while, Yi Zichen slowly reached out and took out a yellow gemstone. Bai Yu, you're here. Yi Zichen elbowed her. Take a look at the points inside. Bai Yu squinted her eyes. Bai Yu squinted his eyes. The points crystal is indeed there, but the points inside have probably been reset to 0. Or perhaps, this stone has already been swapped. Yi Zichen did not doubt her answer. Yi Zichen did not suspect anything, and immediately poured cosmic energy into the crystal. About half a minute later, the number of accumulated points was displayed above the crystal. 12. 2 simple numbers appeared on the top of the crystal. F***CK. Seeing that, Meng Luo already charged over before Yi Zichen could say anything. You're so shameless. You're a sovereign. You stole our points? There's someone as perverted as you. Meng Luo bit her lip. Her face was covered in frost. Hurry up and give us back our points. How interesting. Zhu Yunshi's eyes were cold. What proof do you have that I swapped your crystals? You only have these points, and you want to swindle points from me? Not bad, it seems like you know the importance of points in the ancestral dragon clan. The people in the clan have told you a lot about the ancestral dragon clan, right? I have to remind you, or the elders in your clan, that this is against the rules. Who's breaking the rules? Bai Yu's eyes burned with white flames. We let you take our points, and now you're saying we tricked you? Everyone knows that we won the second round of the trial. We have 900,000 points. So what? Zhu Yunshi shrugged. You don't want to give it to me? You have to prove that I took it. Zhu Yunshi shrugged nonchalantly. You don't have any evidence. Do you think I'll give my points to you just based on your words? What a joke. You have to have our stones in your arms. Where's the evidence? Zhu Yunshi said in disdain. I have a lot of crystals here. As someone who was born and raised in the ancestral dragon clan, point crystals are like your human race's universal treasury card. Everyone can have a lot. I'm also a country lord, so do you think I can't have point crystals? What's more, point crystals are all the same. If you say it's yours, then it's yours. Bai Yu clenched his teeth, but was unable to say anything. I'll tell you, I really do have a 900,000 point crystal here. Zhu Yunshi raised his hand, and a crystal landed in his palm. After he activated it, a row of numbers appeared above it. The numbers were exactly the same as the one Yi Zichen and Bai Yu had. It was very clear that the crystal was theirs. However, Zhu Yunshi had made it very clear that if they wanted to prove that the crystal was theirs, they needed evidence. However, in the pitch-black environment just now, no one knew what had happened at all. Even Bailey was unable to prove the situation at that time. Yi, don't you have a time, elemental fairy? Make her retreat. Bai Yu frowned. Zhu Yunshi still didn't seem to mind. Don't think about it. You can't go back in time in the black hole. Even if you did, the scene there would still be pitch black. That can't prove anything to you at all. To be honest, I'm actually rather impressed. Zhu Yunshi shrugged with a chuckle. Looks like you've made ample preparations for our ancestral dragon clan. You know the importance of points, so you found the time to find me to obtain more points. If it's someone else, perhaps, due to your identity, you might just suffer in silence and admit defeat. What's more, it's just a few 100,000 points for supremacies. It's no big deal. Unfortunately, you ran into me. Zhu Yunshi leaned back in his chair. Satisfied. I'm not afraid of your identities. I'm a reasonable person. If I didn't do it, then I didn't do it. If you want to slander me, you can go to the Elder Cabinet and report me. Let's see if the Elder Cabinet will believe me or believe the one-sided story of you little outsiders. You're seeking death. White flames burned on Bai Yu's body. Zhu Yunshi raised his eyebrows in disdain. What? Commander wants to attack the king. I admire your courage. You think I don't dare? Bai Yu was furious. Zhu Yunshi still didn't care. Don't be flustered and exasperated just because your lies were exposed. You don't have any. Just as Zhu Yunshi was giggling and speaking in a self-righteous tone, Bai Yu's burning palm slapped him in the face. He never thought that Bai Yu would actually dare to attack him. When the slap landed, Zhu Yunshi was stunned for a long while. He stared fixedly at Bai Yu, the anger in his eyes overflowing from his expression. King. He had been slapped. And he took the full brunt of it. I'll slap you just because I say so. Do you think I'm just saying that? Bai Yu squinted his eyes and glared at Zhu Yunshi. Let me tell you, Zhu Yunshi. We have a grudge now. I swear in the name of Fire God's daughter. Either you return the points stone to us right now and apologize to the people in the ship. Or, I will kill you. Chapter 2802. An oath. In the universe, such oaths weren't made carelessly. This was because when they broke through, these oaths would turn into obsessions and become their nightmares. If they didn't deal with it, it was one thing to effect their breakthrough, but another possibility was death. Little White. Hua Jianrou opened his eyes wide, filled with fear. The others in the cabin were the same. They couldn't believe Bai Yu would say such a thing. A grudge was formed. And it was so serious. Junior. Zhu Yunshi's arm violently trembled. This insult touched his soul. The human experts all had one thought. They could accept being insulted by their superiors. For example, if a monarch was slapped in the face by a venerable, they might feel resentment in their hearts. But they could accept it, because they couldn't blame anyone else. If they had to blame someone, they could only blame themselves for not being strong enough. But he was humiliated by a junior. Furthermore, it was a commander-level junior who had forcefully slapped him, causing his face to burn with pain. Good, you're good. Zhu Yunshi muttered. I didn't want to care about you, but you asked for it. Bai Yu's expression was cold. You can also kill me. I'll accept your assassination. You don't look like you're going to return the crystals anyway, so we'll slowly watch. Relying on your father being Fire God. Don't mention my father. Bai Yu's eyes were filled with disdain. I really don't like you seniors finding excuses for yourselves. The problem is between the two of us. What does it have to do with my father? If I really wanted to rely on my father, do you think it would be as simple as a slap? You wouldn't even be alive right now, understand? Bai Yu pointed at Zhu Yunshi's nose. Bai Yu, I don't need to rely on my father. Just the two of us. I'll say it again. You can kill me if you dare, or if you can endure my father's anger. In the end, you're still relying on Fire God. No, I can't change my background. I'm Fire God's only daughter. I can't change that. I won't use my family's power, but my family will take care of me. I can't avoid this. Bai Yu slowly shook his head. Moreover, I'm a commander and you're a monarch. It's not too much for me to have some background, right? Not at all. Zhu Yunshi nodded slowly. At that moment, the warship stopped on a piece of land. I'll remember you too, daughter of the Fire God. The cabin door opened and Zhu Yunshi walked out of the cabin with a dark expression. He didn't even bother to guide Yi Zichen and company. He did not continue. Now that things had escalated to such an extent, he was also the monarch of a country, and he needed his reputation as well. How could he possibly pretend that nothing had happened? He continued to carry out his job. Zhu Yingshi's figure disappeared from everyone's sight. Bai Yu tightly clenched his fist. Little White. Sister Bai Yu. Bai Yu. Everyone in the cabin gathered around him. Bai Yu's actions just now were too different from hers. As for Hua Jianrou, she had never seen Bai Yu so domineering. Xiao Bai, what are you doing? In any case, he is still a monarch-level expert. Although he may not be considered a great senior in our family, this is not our family's territory. Hua Jianrou frowned. She was truly worried for Bai Yu. If they were on planet Een, everything would be fine. If anyone dared to bully the people in their group, they would just have to say the word. Even an overlord would have to come and apologize to them. But this was the ancestral dragon clan. The sky is high and the emperor is far away. Even if the people from their families were to be sent here, it would take at least a year. During this period of time, there would be too many variables. It's one thing to beat him up, but why did you have to swear an oath? You're about to be titled. Hua Jianrou frowned and said, the title will involve the condensation of the god body. The oath you made just now will become your obsession. You're too impulsive. I know what I'm doing. Bai Yu muttered. No, this isn't a question of whether or not there is a plan. Hua Jianrou let out a long sigh. Why are you suddenly so impulsive? You were never like this in the past. Because of him. Bai Yu wanted to blurt out, but then she glanced at Yi Zichen and pursed her lips. Nothing. Actually, the reason why Bai Yu was so angry was because she saw Zhu Yunshi teasing Yi Zichen. It was as if he thought of Yi Zichen as a clown. She couldn't hold it in for a moment. Noticing Bai Yu's expression, Hua Jianrou seemed to understand and lightly sighed. It's fine. Zhu Yunshi, let's think of something together. I'll handle it myself, Bai Yu said. What are you talking about? We are a team. Before Hua Jianrou finished, Yi Zichen also nodded. That's right, this Zhu Yunshi is going up against our group. Don't worry, we have all the time in the world to play with him. Yeah. Meng Luo giggled. Big sis Bai Yu, did that slap feel good? I wanted to slap him too, but I didn't dare to. Meng Luo's voice was low. She was afraid that Zhu Yunshi would fight back. I don't feel anything, just thick skin. Bai Yu replied, but from his actions just now, I can tell that these points are very important. That is for sure. Yi Zichen nodded. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gone through so much trouble to take them away. I've already contacted the family, Yi Zichen nodded. At this moment, Hua Jianrou squinted her eyes and said, I told my father just now. My father was very angry when he found out. He's going to send 15 sovereigns and 3 overlords over to the ancestral dragon clan. Isn't that Zhu Yunshi very cocky? He thinks that he's really amazing just because he's a country lord. I'm worth it for the sovereigns to come. Is there a need to be so exaggerated? Yi Zichen was shocked. 15 sovereigns and 3 overlord. Just what kind of family is Hua Jianrou's family? What's more, Wouldn't sending so many sovereigns affect their family? Then I'll get the family to send some people over as well, Meng Luo pursed her lips. Then I'll get my mom to send some people over as well, Meng Luo pursed her lips. Then I'll get my mom to send some people? Is 10 sovereigns enough? The flame rat muttered. Yi Zichen's heart skipped a beat when he heard that. In just a short while, 60 sovereigns and overlords are going to come to the ancestral dragon clan? Yao Beast. Just what kind of deities are these second-generation heirs? It's way too stressful to be with them. I'll get my family to send some people over as well? Bai Yu frowned. But I don't really want my family to know. Come. Scare him to death. Didn't he remember you? Let's make him remember. Hua Jianrou frowned deeply. Yi Zichen. Deities, stop.